Hello, gamers. You're listening to the Short Pause Gaming Podcast. This is episode number 146. Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Short Pause Gaming Podcast. I'm Ben. Joining me this evening, Mr. Frankie Ayler, Mr. Bender Holt. Gentlemen, how are we this fine evening?
All right.
Great. Very nice.
Awesome. You'll notice, of course, Brent not with us this evening. Brent hates you all and decided to take the show off. No, Brent has other obligations that he's got some stuff with the family going on, so we will miss him this week, but he'll be back next week. So, Bender, talk to me, man. What's going on? How you feeling?
Doing all right, man. Just, get through another week and still playing lots of Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Lots of Xenoblade Chronicles 2. How many hours are you in now?
Over 65 now.
So if you're doing the math, last show you were at 50, so you put in a good 15 hours this week into Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So talk to us, man. What's going on in the world of Xenoblade 2?
It's a really good game, man. I'm really trying to discipline myself and get through it. I want to beat this game. I mean, for one, that was part of my New Year's resolutions, is to try to finish more games that I play.
Mm-hmm.
Because normally, I mean, and the other reason is really because I never beat the first two games. There was always a point where I would fall off and go play other stuff. So I'm trying not to do that this time. I'm trying to really stick with it. And it's a good game either way. I mean, it's not like I'm forcing myself to play it or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I still like the story. I mean, all the characters are really cool, and I like the different blades that you can find. They've got different elements that they use and stuff like that. So, and I've discovered more areas, new worlds and stuff, new continents. So. It's it keeps going. I don't know how I'm on chapter 7. I think I don't know how many chapters there are, but it's definitely a long game. It's been taking a lot of time, but I am enjoying it. So I'm definitely chipping away at it and hope to beat it before too long.
It'd be funny if you pull up a guide or something on Google and it's like 20 chapters long. you just scratch the surface.
Yeah. Could be. It could be. I mean, Xenoblade Chronicles X, I spent over 200 hours in that game.
Wow, and still never finished it.
I got to the very end, and I got to the last boss, and I couldn't beat him. And I was like, oh, go level up or something and come back, and then I never did.
Oh, man. So, at the final boss?
Yeah. Yeah, I need to go back
just
finish
Bender.
that one, knock that one out. But I know that's shameful, but...
Man.
I'm hoping that won't happen with this one.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever gotten to a final boss and then just been like, well, that's it for me. I'm out.
Yeah.
You didn't play Matterfall yet, huh?
No, I haven't got to the final boss in Matterfall. I was gonna ask you if that ever happened to you, Frankie, but it did with Matterfall. The final boss there was a real SOB. Cool. So in terms of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Bender, has your opinion changed on it at all? Does it feel like it's wearing out its welcome? Is you still enjoying it just as much, if not more so, than when you first started?
I'm still enjoying it. There's certain things that I have to look up. It's a little obtuse sometimes.
Yeah.
But that's always been the case with these games. I'm not afraid to look things up for these games because some of these side quests are like I have no idea where to go, and so I do have to look stuff up sometimes. But that's part of it for me. I mean, I don't mind, but for the most part, yeah, it's fun. I'm still enjoying it. It's not getting old or anything like that. So we'll see how it goes after I'm like 100 hours in.
Yeah.
But so far, I'm still enjoying it.
Gotcha. Is this comparable to the other Xenoblade games? Is this one better or worse? What do you think? 65 hours in.
I think in terms of the combat, it's better. I think it's got more to it in terms of combat than the previous games.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the story's about as good as the other games. I mean, they've always had a good story, not a great story.
Yeah.
But it's something that will keep you invested in the characters and stuff. So that's the same here, and I really enjoy exploring the worlds and discovering new places. That's a big part of it. It's just there's a big variety of different areas that you can visit in different locations, different environments. So that's really fun to find all the different monsters you can find and all that stuff. So in those terms, it's comparable to the previous games.
Gotcha. Have you located the world that takes place on Brent's back yet? Is that still trying to?
Some of them are kind of similar. Yeah, could be.
Gotcha. Okay.
There's also these like big monkeys I've been fighting. Kind of remind me of Felsing a little bit.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, all that's totally understandable. Cool. Well, glad to hear you're enjoying the game, man. If I'm ever feeling frisky and brave enough, maybe I'll fire up a Xenoblade game. But I'm not gonna lie, they scare me. But other than that, man, what else you been playing this week? Anything?
Not a whole lot. Like I said, I'm trying to stick with that game because if I start something else, I'm probably going to get distracted. I really want to stick to my guns and finish this game. I do play Animal Crossing Pocket Camp on my phone still. But that's just more of a kind of a distraction when I'm just sitting around. Yeah, don't have much else to do. So still enjoy that game too.
Gotcha. Cool. Well, that sounds good, man. Sounds like you had a good week with Xenoblade. Franklin, you were not with us last week, so catch us up, man. What's been going on? What you been playing? How you feeling? You feeling better now? What's the 411?
Yeah, so I just got over the flu last time I was on. So going to the doctor, I got some other stuff going on, so I'm on some new medication. Which of course, one of the side effects is you kind of feel like you have the freaking flu again. So I spent the last week kind of feeling like garbage all over again. So it's been terrible. Haven't really had like the motivation to play anything. I've already done the thing that Bender is doing really good at not doing. I started Xenoblade Chronicles 2 with the couple days I was feeling better the first time. So I have 2 hours into it. I'm actually on the first Titan. And just decided today that I'm going to start playing Pyre. So I don't know when I'm going to get back to Xenoblade, but I was worried, because Monster Hunter obviously is coming out this week, and that's the game I really want to start sinking time into when it comes out. So it's like, I'm not going to finish Xenoblade by next week. That's just not going to happen. So I wanted to find something a little more realistic I could tackle. And Pyre's kind of been at the top of my my list of the couple games I still want to get to from last year. Which of course, I know Angels and Demons wrote in about that game last week, which I thought was funny because I was like, that's cool. I'm about to start playing that one. So, so I outside of feeling like garbage, I like I said, I started playing Pyre this morning. I'm probably about 3 hours in now. That game's a lot of fun. All the characters are really cool. These different kind of factions that you encounter while you're partaking in the rites. There's a couple like they decided to join your party afterwards. Namely the one that I forget his name. He's a worm, like a knight. He's a worm, but he's a knight. His name's like Sir Gerald or something like that. I don't remember. I just added him to my party not too long ago, so I still haven't used him in a match because I haven't had an opportunity to yet. But yeah, just like the music in that game, the writing, I'm really enjoying it so far. It's really keeping me interested. And like I said, all the characters, they're all really cool. Like I haven't stumbled across a character yet that I don't like. Even some of the characters that you face off against, they're just really kind of hilariously written, I guess. And I was laughing because there's this like group of I don't know if they're like dogs or something, but they're these kind of like outcasts, like the teenage kids going out vandalizing stuff at night, like that's their type of personality. So they have this really cool like kind of rock track that plays during that match, and it's one of the ones that was actually Darren talked about on JD's show, on the Play and Listen show. So that started playing, and I was like, oh yes, I love this song. So it was also kind of cool because one of the characters that you bring on, as you bring characters onto your wagon, they kind of bring their own little trinkets that are kind of in there. And this one guy has this horn that you click it and you can play various tracks on the soundtrack. and they're acoustic versions. So there's like an acoustic version of that and an acoustic version of a couple other tracks on there that I really like. So it's kind of cool hearing these other versions. I wish there was a way to get them, otherwise. But yeah, that's kind of what I've been largely invested in. Still playing Battlefront 2. Actually hopped in there the other night with a couple friends from work. So just hit rank 15. So still making my way through there. I actually fired up a stream a couple weeks ago when I wasn't feeling like crap, and won my first heroes versus villains match, so that was awesome. Kind of messing around with Kylo Ren and learning how to be cheap with him, because he has this move where you can pull enemies towards you, but you can also freeze them, so it'll essentially paralyze them. If there's a map with like a big open area, you can pull them towards you, freeze them, and they'll just plummet to their death. Total dick move, but yeah, I mean, I still having a good time with that game. I don't really like playing heroes versus villains a lot because I don't have everyone unlocked, and I don't have a lot of good cards, and that seems to be the only mode where that really matters. I don't feel like playing like Blast, which is team deathmatch, or even Strike, the objective based one. I don't feel like having terrible cards means you're going to do bad. I mean, I do pretty okay most of the time, so. I don't know. I do. I really think that game's a lot of fun. So still nice getting to hop in there every so often. But I think that's about it outside of us going back to some Killzone 3.
Yeah, man. We started our run towards the Killzone Platinum. So we got a couple months before the servers sunset on Killzone 2 and Killzone 3 on the PS3. So Frankie and I are going to be hopping in there probably once a week or so, and maybe a few more once we get into Killzone 2.
Yeah.
And knock out some of those online trophies so we can secure the platinums in those games eventually down the line. So, yeah, Killzone's always been a fun game to me. It's funny going back in there and trying to relearn the controls and figure out what does what, because it's such a different control system. But after a few rounds, you start to remember how it plays, and yeah, still a fun game. There was quite a few people on the servers actually when we were on there, so
yeah,
it was surprising.
Yeah, we had some full matches.
Yeah, I thought we were gonna hop in there and it was gonna be a ghost town, but apparently everybody else thinking the same thing. Like, let's get in there, get some trophies, and wrap this thing up before everything's said and done. So yeah, looking forward to playing some more Killzone. As far as myself this week, so on Tuesday we featured Albert and Otto on the Tuesday Night Indie Spotlight. So we fired that one up. It's a very interesting title that's clearly inspired by Playdead and Limbo and Inside and the games that they've made at that studio. It's got a very similar kind of style, and just from graphics to the gameplay itself. The actual style of it is almost like a reverse of like Limbo. Like the graphics in Albert and Otto seem to highlight like the whites and the grays as opposed to like the blacks, or like the shadows that something like Limbo would highlight. So it's interesting visually from that perspective. But I really liked my time with Albert and I thought the puzzles were pretty clever. It's a little bit different in that you have a gun that you use for some of these puzzles. You have abilities that you use, like you have these kinetic abilities that your stuffed teddy bear gives you that you use to solve the puzzles. And we had a boss battle on the stream that I thought was a lot of fun. It was challenging. So the puzzles start off simple enough, simple moving a box here or there, flipping a switch, that kind of stuff to get from point A to point B. But then once you get to that first boss battle and you fight this robot and it's a little bit more elaborate and you're trying to figure out exactly how that works, then the difficulty starts to ramp up. And by the time we finished that stream, the last puzzle I encountered was I had to figure out how to there's like big wolf beast thing that I had to try and figure out how to stop and get out of this cage, get the stuff that's inside the cage and move on. It's pretty elaborate. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. If you like games like that, like if you like Inside and Limbo, and that's kind of like a whole subgenre now that's kind of sprung up after those games. If you like those kinds of titles, you could do worse than spend a few nights with Albert and Otto. I think fans of that genre are definitely find something to like with that. Now I've played some of those games over the years. Feist comes to mind. I played that one about a year ago when that came out, and that was an interesting title. Had some deficiencies though; it didn't all come together. Albert and Otto so far though, a really cool game. Definitely want to get in there and play some more. It was supposedly at one point going to be an episodic title, but it came out like 2.5 years ago on the PC. We haven't seen episode 2 yet, so I'm gonna guess that dream has sailed. But I don't know. So they brought the game out on consoles, so it's out on the Xbox One and the PS4 now. But give it a whirl if you like those games. I think you'll like Albert Renato. Also on Wednesday we fired up Full Metal Furies. It's on the Xbox One Wednesday night. Bender was there. So we jumped in there. Bender, you, me, Brent, JD actually joined us for that one as well. So we hopped into Full Metal Furies. Give that one a whirl. That's Cellar Door Games' new game. They, of course, from Rogue Legacy, which is an incredible video game. If you have not played Rogue Legacy, please do so. It's one of my favorite games this generation, definitely. But Full Metal Furies is like an RPG action brawler. There's different classes of characters. They all have different abilities. They all kind of work together as you move through the stages. And in typical Cellar Doors fashion, much like in Rogue Legacy, when you would finish a level and visit the skill tree afterwards, spend your earnings once you bit the dust inside the castle. Once you finish a level in Full Metal Furies, you kind of visit this hub and you can upgrade your characters, get new abilities, unlock new perks and stat upgrades for your characters and that kind of stuff. So I really like that. I really like what we played of that game. The character designs are awesome. The writing's cool. It's got a very silly sense of humor. I dig the whole style about the game. But obviously, Bender, we ran into some like networking issues. We were aware of that going into that. We knew this was going to be an issue when we started the stream. Cellar Doors had tweeted out about that there were networking issues with the game. It's kind of strange. They even briefed us on the game before we were able to actually stream the game via Cellar Door Games. They generously provide us with a code to stream the game. So they let us know like the game's not really ready yet. Like there's still some patches that need to come out. So it's a little strange that the game was released, without those extra patches that were coming down the pipeline. I mean, who knows? Deadlines and all that kind of stuff come into play. So I guess they had no choice. But it would have been nice if the game was in a little bit better state when we played it. I haven't fired it up since then, so I don't know how it's come along. Have you given it a whirl since then, Bender, at all to check in on it? No,
I have not. I'm gonna wait until they patch it because there was some serious connection issues going on there.
Yeah. So outside of that, I think that's kind of the main issue with the game. If they can shore up the networking issues, I think most of the other games seems like it's in good shape. There was some slowdown in certain spots, but I don't know if that was a result of the network or what. It's hard to tell. I haven't played the game outside of a network setting yet, so we'll have to dig into that a little bit further and see what becomes of that. The game doesn't also seem to be optimized for like consoles, which is a bit strange. Like when you go into the game, like the image is stretched, like by default. It's weird. You have to go into the settings and turn the overscan off. Then it shrinks the image on your screen, and then it's a little bit sharper. But it just doesn't seem like the fact that you're playing on a TV was taken into account, which is a little bit strange. So I would like to see them kind of dive into that a little bit and maybe get that fixed up. So it's a little bit of a blurry image as well. Like it's not as sharp as it should be. It's a pixel art game, so it's got that style about it. But even when like the characters come up and they're talking heads, like the characters, they're a little bit blurry. They should be sharper. Like it's something like Pyre, for instance. When the characters pop up, they're like really good looking character models. Like they're drawn really well, and the same thing can be said for Full Metal Furies, but it's like a blurrier image in it than it should be, at least in my opinion. I don't know if you felt the same way, Bender, but yeah, it's a cool game with a ton of potential. Like I said, I really like Cellar Door games, so I hope that they're able to kind of shore up Full Metal Furies in the future here. Hopefully they can bring it to other platforms as well, because I do think there's a lot of potential in it. It is something that I want to play some more of. Anything else that you want to add to Full Metal Furies, Bender, based on your experience?
No, I agree with you. I mean, other than the network issues, other than when it was working well, it was a fun game. I like the characters. I like the different classes and everything. It was a tough game. There were some parts where we got our asses kicked, but it was still fun. It was still fun to play and figure out how to beat the different characters. And some characters are shielded and with a specific color, and you have to be that color to take down that shield for that enemy. So I thought that was a really interesting mechanic, and it was overall a fun game. They just definitely need to work on those network issues.
Yeah, they had some fun classes. They got the sniper class, who's like a ranged fighter. I was playing as the engineer, who's more of a support class. They have a pistol, but they have some other like robots and things that you can use to help out the rest of the team. You have the tank class, which obviously just goes in there and just wrecks. Bender, you were the tank, right? You
Yeah,
had the
she just
sword
has a
and
shield.
Yeah.
No, she just has a shield.
Oh, there's
She
just a
like
shield.
bashes with a shield, and
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Just
But
bashing
she
with
had
the
like a
shield.
dragon shout, which was pretty cool. You could knock enemies back with that.
Yeah, always a useful tool to have. And then there was the fighter as well, who's a melee character, just gets in there and kind of gets into the thick of it. So yeah, I like I said, ton of potential, really cool game. Hopefully they can get everything shored up, and then Full Metal Furies, I think, is definitely something that we should keep an eye on. Frankie, at one point, if the game is able to be fixed up, man, you should probably look into that one as well. I think you'll probably dig that.
Yeah, very interested in that one. I just caught a couple minutes of the stream just to kind of see what that game looked like in action. Yeah, I got to pick it up at some point still, but yeah, I'm definitely interested in trying that one out.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, love those guys. So cool. So with that, we have a nice new release this week. Nice new release list this week. Say that 5 times fast. So Frankie, we've got some big titles on the release list this week. This is kind of like the beginning of the 2018 release schedule in earnest. Why don't you take us through these releases, man?
Yeah, like you said, not as many releases this week, but there are a lot of big games this week. Before we get into those, a couple things that we missed last week. First up, Baseball Riot. This is that baseball themed puzzle game, similar to Tennis in the Face from 10 Tons. That's on the Switch now.
Tennis in the Face.
Tennis in the Face. Arcade Archives Double Dragon. This is the popular 2D brawler from the late 80s, also available now on the Switch. Ambition of the Slimes. This is like an 8 or 16-bit style RPG. Again, also on the Switch now.
That's
Arcade
an awesome
Archives.
name for a game. Ambition of the
Ambition
Slimes.
of the Slimes. It's a weird looking game. I don't
Yeah,
get the impression it's very good, but I could be wrong,
sweet name though. It's a wasted name if it's not very good.
It's true. Arcade Archives Neo Geo Power Spikes 2. This is an old arcade volleyball game that's available on the Switch and Xbox One now. Mutant Football League. We mentioned this one last week, coming out of Game Preview on Xbox. It's also available on PS4.
Really?
Shooty Fruity. Yeah. So you and Brent can get it on PS4. Get trophies.
Nice. Really curious about that one.
Yeah. I haven't heard anyone talk about it yet, so I'm not
Yeah, me neither.
sure what to expect from it, but
Yeah.
Shooty Fruity. It's out now for PlayStation VR. I could have sworn this game already came out around Christmas time, but
yeah,
maybe not. Maybe it got delisted. New publisher, who knows? But it's up now for $19.99. Game looks really cool. I want to try that one out sometime. It's kind of like a shooting gallery game, but you have like a conveyor belt in front of you because you're like a store clerk. So looks interesting.
Yeah, it does look pretty cool.
Yeah. Fitbit Coach. This is a fitness training app available now on the Xbox One. So that's going to do it for the stuff that we missed. So let's get into a couple spotlight games. By a couple, I mean like 5, because like I said, this week's crazy. I'm going to go ahead and just throw this out here first, because this is the game that I am probably the most excited about coming into 2018, and that is Monster Hunter World. So this is going to be the first like Monster Hunter game to grace like a big console in a really long time. I think Monster Hunter Tri and 3 Ultimate were the last ones on the Wii and Wii U respectively. But outside of those, Monster Hunter's obviously largely been on the PSP and 3DS for a couple of years now. So here we are, 2018. Capcom is bringing this exciting franchise back to the big screen, boasting a 40 to 50-hour campaign, 4-player co-op, guilds, which I think you can have up to 50 members in. And there's going to be a more streamlined approach to the game's kind of nuanced mechanics. So, like I said, I'm super excited about this. I've always wanted to hop into one of these Monster Hunter games, but it's hard for me to commit 40, 50, 80 hours even for Monster Hunter 4 to doing that on the handheld. But so I know Bender, you and I, we tried out the beta one of the various times it was running. What were your thoughts on it, and where are you at on Monster Hunter World?
I'm looking forward to checking it out. I enjoyed what I played at the beta. Like I said before, I think I only did the easy hunt out of the 3 that were available, but I just wanted to see kind of how it looked and how it played. But yeah, it looks really good. I think the graphics look really nice. The combat is fun and everything. Hopefully, it's not going to be quite as obtuse as some of the previous Monster Hunter games. I've heard that they've changed some stuff. I don't know exactly what, but I've heard that they've kind of made it a little bit more user friendly for people who are just starting out, which is good because I have very little experience with the franchise. I just played the one on 3DS like a little bit, not a whole lot, but it was fun from what I played, and I'm looking forward to this one, and hopefully we can get in there and hunt some monsters together. I think that'd be a good time.
Absolutely. Boys, where are you at on this one?
I'm picking up Monster Hunter World. Got my collector's edition pre-ordered. So yeah, I'm excited about this game as well. I have never really played a Monster Hunter game. I have a few of them in my collection, but I've never really sat down to play any of them. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. And like Bender said, one of the things you always hear about Monster Hunter is how dense these games are, how obtuse they are, how just complicated they can get. So if they're streamlining that for Monster Hunter World, which it sounds like they are, and I think you just alluded to it a little bit in your description of it there as well, Frankie. So if they're able to kind of shore that up a little bit and give us like a really fun cooperative like monster hunting experience, like it sounds awesome. I get excited about the game every time I watch it. I still haven't played the damn beta. If I get a chance tomorrow, I'm gonna do my damnedest to get the place. There's like 8 betas running this weekend. It's weird. There's like betas for every game that's right now. So there's a few on my list that I want to play. Monster Hunter is one of them. So I'm going to do my damnedest tomorrow to sit down and play this game and at least get some kind of a hunt in so I have an idea of what this game's about. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this on Friday.
Yeah, me too. So speaking of that, obviously the game is going to be out on Friday. We got some details about the game's day one patch. Some of the stuff that's going to be adding in will, of course, be the online functionality. So anyone who happens to obtain the game early, you're only able to play offline. There will be a gallery mode, so you can rewatch scenes from the game. And Poogies, which I guess these are series staple pig-like creatures. These are kind of one of the things that people love and were kind of thinking weren't going to be in the game because they're not in the beta. But they will be coming in the day one patch. Carrying one of these around.
Poogies?
Poogies? Poogies.
So I'm gonna write that down. That's my new pet name for Brent.
Poogie.
Yeah.
Poogie.
Yeah.
But carrying one of those guys around, they'll help you find nearby treasure. So cool. Also, another thing worth mentioning, that really sweet looking custom PlayStation 4 Pro that was coming out in Japan, coming to the US as well. That'll be available exclusively at GameStop for $449. That'll come with the game, that sweet Rathalos graphic on top of the system, and a custom controller. So Monster Hunter World launches on Friday on Xbox One, PS4. And like I mentioned, you can look for that custom PlayStation 4 Pro on Friday as well.
Let me ask you guys real quick. Did you guys pre-order digitally?
I did.
I did not.
You did not.
I sprung for the collector's edition, so I one physical purchase for me. That's it.
I missed out on the collector's edition. Otherwise, I would have gone that route. So I'm hoping that they do some restocks and I can get one. I don't care what system I get it on. I just want the statue and the soundtrack. Bender, are you getting that Pro?
I don't know, man. I'm still holding out hope that they're going to do a Spider-Man one.
You know they are, man. You know they are.
I just hope that it's not ugly though.
Yeah.
I hope they don't drop the ball and just make it look stupid. If I want it to look good, and if it does, I'm getting it day one.
Yeah.
But this one looks good, and it looks good, so you could just get this one.
It's sound logic.
It is.
It's like how Brent's buying the game because Best Buy's going to give him a steelbook. He just doesn't know it yet.
I'll have to think about it.
Keep us posted.
Okay.
All right. Up next, Ben, Dragon Ball Fighter Z finally coming in hot alongside Monster Hunter on Friday. So of course, from Arc System Works. Absolutely. Dude, Friday is awesome. So of course, coming from the guys responsible for the excellent Guilty Gear games. This is going to feature a story set after the events of Dragon Ball Z and during the events of Dragon Ball Super. Will feature a new character, Android 21, who seems like they're going to play an integral part in the story. There will be a cast of 24 fighters for you to choose from, with 8 more coming via DLC. Gameplay actually in this one plays out kind of similar to Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, where it's 3-on-3. So Ben, Piccolo 930, a resident Dragon Ball Super fan. I know you mentioned you had a chance to finally try out the damn beta when it was running last weekend. This weekend, I don't know, is that one of the 15 betas running right now? I don't even know.
Yeah.
But talk to me. What are your thoughts on the beta? Where are you at on this? Did you settle on which version you're picking up on Friday?
Yes, I have. So last weekend the Dragon Ball Fighters like open beta was running, and the servers were just getting nuked or something was going on. There were networking issues. So I tried to hop into it, was not able to, was severely disappointed. I was like, ugh, I just want to play this game. The next day, though, they had the servers fixed, so I was able to hop in there for a couple matches, and holy shit, is this game cool. Like, this game's awesome. Like, as a Dragon Ball fan, if you like Dragon Ball, you're going to be on cloud 9 when you play this game. Of course, it looks phenomenal, but all like the cutscenes before the battles, like watching the moves play out. I was in there with Piccolo, Cell, and Frieza, and man, I was just wrecking dudes, and I was having a good time doing it. So I can't wait to get my hands on the full version of this game. But this game is awesome. It's super cool. The fighting system seems really, 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 really fun to play with and figure out. I can't wait for this game, man. This is gonna be a ball.
Did you get the collector's edition? Did you get the?
I did.
Yeah,
got the
statue?
collector's edition with the statue. Yep.
Good call. Yeah, I gotta pick this one up on Friday. I'm just trying to figure out where I'm gonna have time between this and Monster Hunter. So hopefully we can get in there and maybe duke it out for a little bit.
Yes, would definitely love to get in there. Street Fighter V Arcade Edition out now as well. So 2 very, very good fighting games recently released will be out in the wild. That deserves some more attention from us.
Got another one coming next week too, I think. Dissidia.
Yeah, on the 30th. Yep. So that's one of the other betas that's running this weekend. That's one I'd like to get in there and check out as well. But yeah, Dragon Ball Fighters is so awesome, man. God, that game's cool.
Bender, any interest in this one?
I actually do have an interest in this one. Even though I'm not a huge fighting game fan, I am very much a Dragon Ball Z fan. So this game, just the look of it, I mean, it looks like an episode of the show. I mean, it looks amazing. Mm-hmm. I have played some of the older Dragon Ball fighting games like Budokai and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So, I enjoyed those. So it's something I might want to check out. I don't know if I'll buy it because I don't know how much I'll actually play it, but I do want to play this game at some point.
Nice.
This has like a full-on story mode, right, with the Android 21 story. So it's probably going to be a pretty cool single-player experience too, Bender, with like the extra story that they're adding in here. Yeah,
that sounds awesome. I mean, new Dragon Ball story. I think that's pretty cool. So
yeah, brand new character too. So that's it's pretty wicked.
Yeah, I like the sound of it.
Cool. So again, that one will be available on Friday the 26th on Xbox One and PS4.
Just one more thing too, Frankie.
Huh?
I love how when you're fighting in this game, like you can teleport around people. Like when you're doing your combos, you like do the Dragon Ball teleport and you're teleporting behind people and you're punching them really fast. Like all like the Dragon Ball moves are in there. It's so awesome. This game rocks, man. Can't wait for
That's
it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked what I got to play the beta when I was in there. I actually won a match, so that's why I was like, all right, I'm buying this. Nice. It's a lot of fun. I still think Trunks is overpowered, but you kind of get around that.
Yeah.
All right. Up next, The Inpatient. This one drops on Tuesday for PlayStation VR. This actually appears to be set in the same universe as Until Dawn. Supermassive Games has confirmed that it takes place 6 years prior to the events of it. So players will step into the shoes of an amnesia-ridden patient who is not only trying to figure out who they are, but why they're at the Blackwood Sanatorium. So much like Until Dawn, The Inpatient is going to feature branching narratives based on players' choices, and of course, there'll be multiple endings. I loved Until Dawn, so this is another one that I'm really excited about. I love the stuff that Supermassive does, especially with these branching narratives and how they're kind of able to things that you don't think you can change, you can actually end up changing in those games. I think they kind of did the Quantic Dream thing a little better than Quantic Dream, but Bender, I don't think this game has any appeal to you, if I'm not mistaken.
No.
Really. So Ben, did you ever play Until Dawn?
Yes. Until Dawn's a phenomenal video game. I think it's a really, really good game. It's probably one of the most underrated games on PlayStation. Like a lot of times when people talk about the best games on PS4, like that's not one of the ones that immediately jumps to the forefront of your mind. But it's a really really good video game. It's one I still haven't finished, so I hate myself for it. I need to go in there and finish that game. But yeah, what I played of it was really really good. There's so many different permutations and paths you can go down, and it's just it's a really really well done game. So I'm really looking forward to the Impatient. Looks I don't know a whole lot about what it's going to entail. I assume it's some kind of a horror experience inside of the sanitarium. So I don't know much about it other than that it's in the Until Dawn universe. But if you're curious about the Impatient, if I'm not mistaken, we'll be featuring this game on Thursday on the channel in the first ever episode of our new VR show that Brent will be heading up on a weekly basis. So if you're at all interested in the Impatient or you're curious on what it looks like, make sure you come on over to the channel Thursday, probably about 10 p.m. We'll be firing up the Impatient so you can see what it's all about.
Awesome. So yeah, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, Short Pause Gaming on YouTube. Look forward to that. Speaking of our YouTube channel, this next title I believe you're eyeing for the Indie Spotlight, and that's Iconoclasts.
Yes.
This will be coming to the Vita and PS4 on Tuesday. So this one's like a pixel art styled platformer. What drew you to this one?
Hearing some great things about Iconoclast. So if you've been trolling around Twitter for the past week or so, you may have seen a few people talking about this game, and just hearing really really good things about this title. It looks like a game right up my alley. It looks like I believe it's a Metroidvania game. It's got this obviously cool retro art style about it. It's full of bosses. There's over 20 bosses in this game. One of the things they talked about in the development of Iconoclast is they're big fans of like boss battles and that kind of game and the different mechanics that go into making boss battles. So there's a ton of them in this game. So I'm from everything I've heard about it, from the boss battles to the style of game, trailer looks awesome. Really really looking forward to playing Iconoclast. So we have a copy of Iconoclast right now. We were graciously provided one by the team behind this, that's overseeing the PR for this game. I don't know if it's the PR team or the developers themselves, but they provided us with a code to stream the game. So we're actually going to do an early version of the Indie Spotlight this week. Iconoclast we're going to feature on Monday night. So if on like a special preview stream. So if you're at all interested in Iconoclast, if you've heard about it, and you're curious about what it looks like, come on over. We're going to do the Monday night Indie Spotlight this week, 10 p.m. Eastern, once again on our YouTube channel. So you guys can check it out, see what it's all about. But I can't wait to play this game. Like, this looks like a Ben game through and through. So I'm juiced to fire this one up.
Cool. I'm looking forward to checking that out with you. Bender, any interest in this one?
Yeah, I'm actually looking at the trailer right now. I really like the art style.
Mhm.
Very colorful.
Yeah.
Reminds me of something I've seen before, but I can't place it. But but it's really cool. And anytime you say Metroidvania, my ears perk up. So I love those types of games too.
Yeah.
Cool. So look forward to checking that one out on Monday night. The last game we're going to highlight this week is Celeste. This is a very challenging looking narrative-driven platformer about climbing a mountain from Matt Thorson and his team, who brought us a little gem called Towerfall. So Celeste, obviously being the mountain that you're climbing, it's going to feature over 700 levels. Players are going to ascend this dangerous mountain in the shoes of Madeline. She'll meet some interesting characters on her climb and face her inner demons as she climbs, jumps, and air dashes her way to the top of the mountain. Bender, this is one of the games that actually I remember you mentioning was a standout from the Nintendo Direct Mini a couple weeks ago. Are you picking this one up on Friday?
Might have to pick it up. Yeah. It like you said, it definitely stood out to me when I saw it. I had never heard of this game before that presentation, but I definitely keyed into that one when I saw it, and it looks like it has a cool art style. Looks really really challenging though.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
games like that are types that sometimes I get too frustrated and I give up, but it's something I might have to jump into and check it out because it looks really interesting.
Yeah, one of the features that they advertise with this is actually the assist mode, so you can kind of change the way the game is to kind of cater to your playstyle. So you can have infinite lives, you can slow the game down, all kinds of stuff to kind of help you conquer the challenges it has. So maybe they'll help you out and hopefully keep it a little less frustrating.
They have baby ass baby mode.
Exactly. Boys, where you at on this one?
I'm really interested in Celeste as well. This is another game that's kind of right up my alley. Like Bender said, this game looks hard as balls. I mean, and when you put that type of challenge in the same like sentence as 700 levels, like that's kind of scary.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could run my head into a wall for 700 levels in Celeste, but yeah, I'm interested in trying it out for sure. I've declared my love for Meat Boy on the show many times. Meat Boy is a piss hard platformer that is in the masochistic Meat Boy fan of me is interested in what Celeste has to offer. So I definitely want to check this one out. We might try and stream this one later in the week as well when it comes out. So this comes out on Friday too, right? Or there's Thursday.
Thursday on PS4 and Switch, Friday on Xbox One.
Okay, so yeah, so maybe we can fire this up amidst everything else that's going on the last 2 days of this week. We'll see, but yeah, I'm interested in Celeste for sure.
Cool. Yeah, this is another one I'm really interested in too. It's just like I don't know how many more games I can try to fit in this week.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's gonna do it for the games that we want to spotlight. So let's run through the rest of the regular releases. Starting with Monday, Chromagun will be coming to the Nintendo Switch. It's a first-person shooter, kind of in the vein of Portal, but you're using colors to solve puzzles. Like I said, already available on other platforms. Switchblade will launch its closed beta on PS4 on Monday. Players who are interested in the vehicular combat MOBA can sign up via the link in the PlayStation blog post announcing the beta. Sounds like it's going to run for a very short time, so hop on there, sign up. Hopefully you'll get in and try that game out. Sounds weird.
Yeah.
Not too sure what to expect from that one. So on a Tuesday, we're going to kick this one off with OKKO Let's Play Heroes. This is that cool looking beat 'em up from Cappy Games based on OKKO, which I think is a show on Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
But that'll be available on Xbox and PlayStation 4 on Tuesday.
That game looks great.
It does.
If we weren't featuring Iconoclast on the spotlight, that was going to be the title. Because it looks awesome. It's a Cappy game. Definitely curious about that one as well.
Yeah. Like I said, it was hard to figure out which games to spotlight this week because there's so many that look so freaking good.
Yeah.
Up next, Batman: The Enemy Within gets its penultimate episode, What Ails You? Yeah, this is another one I'm looking forward to finishing. Once we get a window for episode 5, probably gonna finally start this one up. So that's awesome.
Same here.
They've been pretty much on point with these releases for Batman, so they've been coming out pretty consistently.
Yeah. So hopefully, the next month or two, we'll have a date for the final episode. So that'll be fun to hop into.
Mm-hmm.
Assassin's Creed Origins will be getting its Hidden Ones DLC on Tuesday. This features a new story set 4 years after the events of Origins' story, as players will clash with a new Roman threat in a new region called the Sinai. This expansion will also raise the level cap to 45, add 4 new legendary weapons, a new outfit, 2 new mounts, multiple new weapons, and 2 new levels for all crafted gear. This is the first of 2 story expansions that will be included in the Season Pass, or you can purchase this one separately for $9.99. I know Brent's really enjoying his time with Origins. Not sure if he got the Season Pass or not, but sounds like that'll be a nice addition to the game. Another big release this week, Lost Sphere. This also launches on Tuesday. This is the brand new JRPG from Tokyo RPG Factory, the guys behind I Am Setsuna. If you're interested in trying this one out, there's a demo on the PlayStation Network and the eShop, so try that one out before buying it on the Switch or PS4 on Tuesday. Go ahead and download that demo now.
Yeah, I forgot that was coming out too.
Yeah, it's a beautiful looking game.
Mm-hmm.
That's another one I really want to get in there and fire up, but again, I just don't have the time.
Yeah.
Shu, this is the action adventure platformer that's been on other platforms. That'll be on the Switch on Tuesday. And the aquatic adventure of the Last Human. This is that underwater game that came to Xbox on Friday, arriving on PlayStation 4 on Tuesday. On to Wednesday, the Sea of Thieves closed beta will begin. This will be available for those who pre-ordered the game and those who were in the prior closed beta. So this one will run from Wednesday until Monday the 29th. So if you're eligible, get in there and see what Sea of Thieves is all about. Also coming to Xbox on Wednesday is Zanyang Sword, The Gate of Firmament. This is an Oriental RPG. Don't see a lot of those on Xbox, so definitely support those. Hopefully get more of them on there. Wild Turkey Hunter comes to the PS4. I can't find a damn video, anything about this game. So I just assume it's going to be some generic hunting game. So look forward to that on Wednesday.
It's probably going to look like hot trash. And it's called Wild Turkey Hunter. That's awesome.
I'm expecting something from like those people who keep making those crappy like off-brand simulator games.
Oh, like the firefighter simulator or whatever.
Yeah, Wild Turkey Hunter, the simulator.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe avoid that on Wednesday. So on to Thursday. This is of course the big update day for the eShop. So all the following games are going to be coming to the Switch on Thursday. Starting with Dust Off Heli Rescue 2. This is that really cool looking helicopter game that came out on PS4 and Xbox One last month. Atomic Run Gun Jump Gun is a 2D sci-fi action platformer. Zero Gunner, I don't know if it's 2- or just 2, but this looks like a port of an early 2000s arcade shoot 'em up. Along with Strikers 1945 2 is another arcade shoot 'em up from the same people who are bringing us Zero Gunner 2. So not sure if those are just ports or I don't know, but look for those on Thursday. Space Dave. This is a 2D game where you control this Dave dude on the ground and you're shooting down enemies from above you. Is this Woe Dave? This looks like Woe Dave kind of.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is this the same Dave from Woe Dave?
Yeah,
I believe it is.
It sure looks like it. Even in the trailer, they just like, whoa. I'm like,
Yeah.
the same guy. So I don't know if this is a sequel or if it's Woe Dave in space or what, but look for that on the Switch to speak. Arcade Archives Neo Geo Kid Nicky Radical Ninjas, an old action platformer. Arcade Archives Neo Geo World Heroes 2 is a 2D fighting game from SNK. Fantasy Hero Unsigned Legacy. This is a hack and slash action RPG from Arc System Works.
Really?
Busy week for them this week. So this one actually looks really cool. Looks pretty promising. So definitely one that's on my radar. Tennis. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's a $7 kind of cartoony looking tennis title.
It's called Tennis.
It's just called Tennis.
It's great.
So if you're looking for a tennis game that's not Mario Tennis, pick that up on Thursday. Super One More Jump is a one-button platformer from the people who brought us Death Squared. That's going to round out the Switch releases that we know about for next week. Laws of Machine. This is a platforming puzzle game hitting the PS4 on Thursday. Looks kind of low budget. Looks like, it's got a little shooting mechanic, but I don't know. Looks like a game preview game that's probably still supposed to be in game preview. Zigzag Go is a $1.49 puzzle game that's only made possible by the new 3DS family of DS systems. On Friday, the big one for Friday, of course, being Pokemon Crystal, which will be hitting the Virtual Console on the 3DS. So, if you're a big Pokemon Crystal fan from the Game Boy Color days, definitely scoop that one up for $9.99. And lastly, Drift Zone is a drifting game that'll be available on Xbox One on Friday. So, Ben, it's going to do it for the kick-ass new releases this week.
Nice. Thank you, Franklin. Awesome week for video games. 2018 is now rip-roaring, ready to go. So from here on out, fellas, pretty much every week we can expect lots and lots of video games to release throughout the rest of the year. So get your wallets ready.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's hop into the news now, fellas. First off, we got a interesting story from Microsoft's camp this week. So Eurogamer posted an article earlier this week that says, according to their sources, Microsoft is plotting the return of Fable. So, I'm going to read from the Eurogamer article here. Work is underway on a brand new big-budget Fable game, Eurogamer can reveal. Fable franchise owner Microsoft has tasked UK developer Playground, which makes the Forza Horizon racing games for Xbox and PC, of course, with creating this new Fable. Sources close to the project have told Eurogamer. Microsoft said in a statement it does not comment on rumor or speculation, of course. Continuing on with Eurogamer here, we've heard the new Fable is planned as a story and character-focused open-world action RPG. A significant investment in its development is also planned, with some 200 people set to work on the game at Playground's newly established second office in Leamington Spa, Warwickshire. Don't expect to play this new Fable anytime soon, however. We've heard it's early days in terms of development, with Playground currently staffing up the team from double digits to its triple-digit target. So if you're doing the math here, they need 200 or so people to work on this game, a game of this scale. They're currently in double digits, so they've got to hire quite a few people. They're not even at 100 yet, so they've got a lot of hiring to do to get to their target. Continuing on with Eurogamer here. Microsoft's decision to return to the much-loved fantasy world of Albion comes less than 2 years after it shut down Fable creator Lionhead and canceled Fable Legends. Fable Legends, unlike previous Fable games, was designed as a free-to-play game as a service with a heavy focus on multiplayer, of course, if you remember. According to former Lionhead developers, staff at the studio had wanted to make a story-driven, single-player Fable 4 while Legends was in the works, and had hoped the studio would move on to making such a game after Legends was done and dusted. Ex-Lionhead staff Eurogamer spoke with said they were excited to see Playground bring Fable back from the dead, but this excitement is tempered somewhat by a sadness that Lionhead was never given the chance to make its dream Fable 4. I have slightly mixed feelings, Fable co-creator Simon Carter told Eurogamer. On the one hand, it's great for the UK games industry and very pleasing that Fable isn't dead. Indeed, it will be lovely to play one as a punter without coming out in hives. On the other hand, it is a little curious to get rid of the team that is uniquely expert in making Fable and then try to make Fable. Fable is a weird game, and a tough one to deconstruct for a new team. That said, the team in question is very talented, and I'm sure they'll do a fantastic job. So what changed? We've heard Microsoft's rekindled interest in Fable was in part inspired by Sony's phenomenal success with Guerrilla Games' PlayStation 4 exclusive Horizon Zero Dawn. As of June 2017, Guerrilla's story-driven, single-player open-world action RPG had sold over 3.4 million copies. So that was, some 6-7 months ago. The game is far above that now. So we don't know how many copies, but obviously Horizon's been very, very, very well received. Sold millions of copies. Microsoft has taken note. As for this new Fable, Playground is seen as a highly talented developer which has done fantastic work with the Forza series for Microsoft. Forza Horizon 3 was one of Xbox's biggest games of 2016, and the hope is the studio can make a high-quality Fable adventure once it brings in open-world RPG expertise. This new Fable is seen as something of a clean break. While all Fable Legends assets were backed up after Lionhead shut down, the expectation is Playground is starting from scratch as it bids to revive the Xbox exclusive franchise. Ted Timmons, an ex-Lionhead developer who now works at Microsoft Studio Rare on Sea of Thieves, mentioned, I was a Fable fan long before I was a Fable developer, so thought of one of my favorite franchises of all time. Rumored to be making a comeback excites me greatly, end quote. So that is the end of the Eurogamer article. So big story this week. This has been rumored for a long time now. There's been rumblings of Fable coming back and possibly even Playground being the group that's responsible for it. So Eurogamer, pretty credible with their sources. They have flat out said definitively Fable is in development. A new Fable is being made and is being developed by Playground. So after all that's said and done, Frankie, what do you think about this, man?
I think that makes some good points. If you're ultimately going to pursue making a new big Fable game, why would you shutter Lionhead? Why wouldn't you just shift them on to making another Fable game, especially if they already had ideas for it?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to hone in on too from this article, is that quote specifically from Simon Carter where he talks about that. He's like, it's a little strange to goad Lionhead into making this Fable Legends game that nobody was really excited about at all. And when they really wanted to make the next Fable game, and for some reason that wouldn't happen, they shuttered the developer. Now they're starting to bring Fable back. It's a very strange sequence of events here.
Yeah, and I don't know how much of this was kind of forced by that. Maybe just like the outcry and now this kind of need to, maybe show that like Microsoft does really still care about Fable. Obviously, it's a franchise they want to still be behind, and they kind of want to live on, even though Lionhead's gone and Legends is canceled. So. Again, I still think it's strange that this is the route they chose to go. However, you cited with Guerrilla working on Horizon, like you see these teams kind of go out of their comfort zone. You see a group like Playground go from making a racing game to a big third world action adventure game. Like that could be awesome. Obviously they've created some really great worlds. Forza Horizon 3 has some really nice looking environments for you to kind of drive around through, and they're obviously very, very talented at creating worlds. So I'm excited about it. Personally, I've never played a Fable game. I've always had like a passing interest in them. I actually have, I think, Fable 2, and I've maybe picked up 3 in the Xbox sale. So I do have those sitting that I do want to sit down and mess with someday. But I understand the concerns, though. Like you mentioned, and I know from a couple friends of mine who've been heavily invested in the Fable games. they're a very strange breed of game. You know, there are definitely some intricacies that would have been more beneficial having people at Lionhead working on this game that, you know, might be lost on somebody stepping into it, you know, kind of bringing their own flavor to the series. But, you know, again, I know there's a lot of people like myself who've never played a Fable game. So, you know, kind of coming in again with a fresh new developer, maybe a fresh take on the series, maybe not the worst thing ever. So, and I mean, also, as far as I know, Fable 3 kind of disappointed a lot of people too. So, I mean, that I'm assuming the series can only kind of go up from there, but I don't know, I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, so that was one of the questions I had too. So when this game comes out, is this going to be like the Fable that people know and love, or is this going to look completely different? Like what do you think? Is this going to like divide the fans, you think? Just from the brief snippet that we read from Eurogamer there, and you know, the former Lionhead developers talking about how weird Fable is, you talking about how weird Fable is from the people that you've talked to, and the fact that Playground's coming in and they're gonna kind of have to rework this thing from the ground up as this big open world action RPG, something akin to Horizon Zero Dawn. Is this even gonna look like Fable when it's all said and done?
I have a feeling it's not. You know, this is I'm gonna say now. I'm willing to bet this is gonna be a very divisive title when it comes out. You know, you see a lot of these developers, and the one I constantly look to is Devil May Cry. You know, you kind of saw why am I blanking on their name? Ninja Theory take over. You know, the series for a game, and while people like me who've never played Devil May Cry loved it, like series diehards hate that game. So I could see something like that happening with this, especially, you know, like, you know, we've talked about like the intricacies of the Fable games probably being lost on another developer. You know, I feel like we're heading towards one of those situations again, where even if that game is good, the diehards are still gonna be the vocal group, you know, kind of dragging that game down.
One other thing I was thinking about too is it's a little bit of a different situation with Guerrilla Games and what they did with Horizon. So Guerrilla, they for a long time they made like big time AAA games with the Killzone franchise. So they're used to working in this studio with hundreds of people and churning out these big budget action games. They just did it in a different genre, and yeah, they brought in some different talent to help them with that. But they're used to working in that environment. Now Playground, obviously they've worked on the Forza Horizon games. These are big AAA racing games. But, you know, they're operating, as we read from the Eurogamer article here, they're operating in double digits in terms of their staff. Now they've got to more than double that. They've got to get up to 200, maybe even more people to work on a big budget open world RPG game. So essentially, they're going to balloon their studio, and more than half the people that are working on this new Fable game are not even going to be the Playground developers that we quote unquote know and love. So is there any concern that Playground maybe biting off a little bit more than they can chew here with this game? I mean, trying to beef up the studio to those kind of levels. I mean, is there any of that concern here, you think?
Oh, totally. Especially a team that size, a team of 200 people who maybe have no idea what exactly they're going to be doing with this new game, who, you know, and obviously I don't know how many like the core Playground guys are going to be involved, you know, who've only worked on Forza, but like you get a group of people, you know, who've never worked together that big together for their first big budget game. I'd be nervous, honestly, in that work environment.
Yeah, and they've got to bring people in that know this genre. So they've got to go and try and bring people in from all facets of the industry who've worked on games like this, so they can, you know, help them make the kind of game that Microsoft's looking to do with Fable. So it's there's a lot of unknowns, a lot of interesting things swirling about this project. But let me bring you in around this now. What are your thoughts on everything that's going on with Fable? Do you have any experience with this franchise?
Very little. I have played a little bit of the first one on the original Xbox, just like a few hours, not enough to really jump into it. But I liked what I played of it. It seemed like a really interesting type of game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it kind of depends on what sort of talent they bring in. Like you said, they're going to have to bring in people who are familiar with the open world RPG type things, because you know, if they've just worked on racing games, they may not know all the nuances of how those open world RPGs are made. I also wonder what type of game is it going to be, like a direct sequel Fable, or is it going to be like a Tomb Raider style reboot? I imagine it would be the latter, because I mean, since the old Fable games have come out, there have been a lot of things that people have learned about RPGs and open world games, and
Mhm.
a lot of different changes that have made. When you think about it, Fable came out before Mass Effect, before Skyrim, before The Witcher 3. I mean, these are all games that have kind of redefined what open world RPGs are and how they're made. So, you know, there's definitely, it's definitely going to be different, I imagine, than the old games. So as you guys were saying, it's probably going to be divisive. There's probably going to be people who are longing for this nostalgia that they feel about the old games, and that might not be there. It might be very, very different. So I'm looking forward to it, though. I'm looking forward to seeing a new Fable game, especially if it is a reboot and I can jump in not knowing anything about the old games. I think that would be ideal, and I think it could be a really good thing.
Yeah, I mean, if they're gonna go ahead and resurrect Fable, you would think that it would at least have some elements of Fable, right? Like if not, like why not just go make a brand new franchise? You know, they saw what Sony did with
Yeah.
Gorilla, like and Horizon. They said clearly that was an inspiration for what they're looking to do with Fable. So if they're looking to bring in a new developer and make their own kind of open world action RPG game, like why not just make a new franchise? Like why even bring Fable back into it? Does the name have that much cachet with the Xbox crowd that they just feel like that's the only way they can deliver this?
I don't know. I'm not saying they're going to completely change it, but I mean,
Yeah.
there's probably going to be elements of it that are different from the old games, and
Mhm.
it really depends. Like I said, I don't know exactly how the old games played or what they were really like. So, I mean, they could take a lot of things, a lot of elements from the old games, and kind of keep it true to what it is, which I'm sure the fans would appreciate. I know it is a very beloved franchise among, especially Xbox fans and others as well. So I don't know. I guess I'm not the right person to to really analyze it, but I don't know. That's kind of how I feel about it.
To kind of your point on the new IP thing, I just have a feeling that Microsoft kind of wants to back away from doing new IPs. And I say that because you look at things like Quantum Break, Rise, Sunset Overdrive, these actually really good quality new IPs that they rolled out, and they haven't sold. People don't support them. So maybe it's just like kind of like this fear of investing in this new IP that, even if it is great, gamers aren't going to support because it's not something that, they know and love. Obviously, we joke about it, but, Halo, Gears, Forza, Fable, like those sell for Microsoft. So maybe it's just that fact alone. Like they're afraid to kind of let them make a brand new IP without, tying it to one of their popular franchises.
Yeah, no, I think that's a very fair point, and that could definitely be like what's at play here is the fact that, like you said, when Microsoft tried to kind of venture outside, it's like they're damned if they do, damned if they don't, right? Like you hear all the time about how the fans want them to add some new IPs to their first party stable, and when they try to move away from that and do something new and do something exciting, like Scalebound gets canceled, Fable Legends gets canceled, Rise, Quantum Break, Sunset Overdrive don't light the world on fire in terms of sales, like you mentioned. So it's like if you're a Microsoft executive and you're running Xbox and you're looking at that, you're like, well, what's the point? Like, why even do that? Why not just do the stuff that we know is going to sell? So I think there definitely could be some of that in play here. The other part of this is this game clearly nowhere close to being anywhere anywhere near coming out. I mean, if they're still assembling a team to make this game, I mean, we're talking about like the earliest of pre-production stuff, right? I mean, maybe they've got a few things in the works, but they don't even have a team assembled yet to make this game. So when does this even become something that's in the conversation? Like 2021? Is that when we start talking about seeing this Fable game? And at that point, don't we maybe see a new Xbox then? It's kind of strange, right?
Yeah.
Could this just be like a multi-generational game? Is this something that will kind of close out the Xbox One and usher in the Xbox 2, so to speak? Be like a Breath of the Wild type of thing where it comes out on both the older console and the newer one?
I could see that happening.
Or maybe we just live in this world now, in this kind of this PC-based architecture world of consoles, where when you just bring out the next game, it's just kind of iterative and it just works. on the next console. It's going to be the same basic architecture. It just kind of continues on throughout, and maybe they can take advantage of whatever new stuff they'll have on the next console down the line.
Yeah.
But yeah, interesting nonetheless. But yeah, it sounds like it's nowhere near being anywhere close to a thing at this point. So we'll have to watch the development on this closely. On the back of this too, there was another story that came out this week that circles around Playground. So Playground Games is developing its next game with the Xbox One X in mind. So in an interview with the Daily Star Online, creative director Ralph Fulton confirmed that Xbox One X will be the quote-unquote lead platform for Playground's next project, which is heavily rumored to be a new game in the Fable series, as we just talked about. Reflecting on the studio's currently undisclosed project, Fulton said ease of development in the Xbox One X's makeup provides a really great development platform, not just for the console, but also the whole family of devices and even PC. He also asserted that focusing on the X as a development platform means all Xbox One family versions will see improvement. Xbox consoles have always been good to work on, but in terms of power the Xbox One X has on your desk, it's a fantastic bit of kit for developers. He goes on to say that this translates to better games, which is great for developers and gamers alike. So, I mean, when you hear this, Frankie, when we've heard about the rumors with Playground Games, we hear about the Fable rumors now, and then they come out and they say that their lead platform is the Xbox One X. I mean, clearly this is the game they're making, right? Like, this is the long rumored open world RPG. Like, they're making this Fable game, right?
Yeah, and I think too the fact that they're kind of honing in on the X, again, I'm just totally, I have no basis for this thought, but I know I have a feeling when we kind of roll into the next console, cycle, I think where we're at with the X and the Pro, like I think those two consoles are going to be able to kind of carry on a little bit, kind of like with this generation with the PS3 and 360. You had some of that overlap. I think we're going to have that with the X and the Pro, like where the base versions are going to be left behind, but the X and the Pro are going to still kind of offer just enough power to kind of run a base version of those games that are going to be playable on the next set of systems. So I think if they're honing in on the X, like that would make sense to be like your base console for 2020, 2021, whenever this game's going to come out. It's probably going to be the core Xbox that people have in their homes at that point, I would think.
Yeah. That's interesting, yeah, that they specifically mentioned like the Xbox One X, like that's the console that we're like basing our game off of right now. So, yeah, we will keep our eye on the proceedings, and we'll report back when we hear something else. But yeah, I gotta imagine we're not gonna hear anything about this game for a very long time.
Yeah.
A couple years at least before we hear anything concrete on it, I would assume.
Mhm.
But I'm not a developer. Don't know how long it takes to do these things. Don't know what the kind of tangible stuff they have right now for it. Maybe they're deep into development and they're beefing up the staff now. Who knows? I don't know anything about this stuff. But from an outsider looking in, sounds like this game's very far away. All right, a couple other Xbox stories we're going to touch on here before we move on. Microsoft reportedly working on a new Xbox Elite controller. So, images have surfaced on Reddit as well as Chinese site Baidu via The Verge, potentially showing an early version of an update to the fan favorite controller. According to an anonymous user, the controller will boast a number of improvements, including built-in rechargeable batteries, yay, a USB-C port, Bluetooth, 3 levels of hair trigger locks, a 3-profile switch, and longer key travel for paddles. The Verge notes that Microsoft filed a patent in December for an adjustable lock designed for controller thumbsticks, which these images appear to contain, potentially lending credibility to the images. So, Frankie, you ready to shell out $150 for a new Elite controller?
Nah, I didn't even keep the Elite controller that I got. It's a nice controller, but I don't know. Once I got a hold of the newer Xbox controllers, it's just the vibration. The vibration of the original Elite bothered me so much, because just you hear the rumble and it just makes it sound like a cheap controller, like all the old Xbox controllers, in my opinion. And the new rumble motor they have is really really quiet, feels better. So, but I know I'm in the minority. I just that controller just it wasn't anything special to me.
Gotcha. Bender, you eye on that Elite controller? Ready to take your game to the next level, man?
No, I've never felt any desire to spend that much money on a controller. I think I like the regular Xbox One controller. I think it's a perfectly good controller. I like the way it feels, and doesn't really bother me. I don't feel like I need to spend extra money on on anything fancy.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So apparently there might be a new. This might just be like a refresh of the model. I don't know if they're gonna do anything special about it, but we'll keep our eyes on that and see how that plays out. The Xbox Game Pass titles for February have been announced. We got 8 new titles coming to the Game Pass, led off by NBA 2K17, WWE 2K17, Halo Wars 2, Frankie, coming into Game Pass. So that's pretty cool. Darksiders 2 Definitive Edition, Fable Anniversary on the back of what we just talked about there. Rhyme heading into the Game Pass. Riptide Renegade GP and Letter Quest Grimm's Journey all will be joining the service on February 1st. So that continues to be a solid deal for $10 a month. Game Pass, over 100 games in there now. Titles rotate through there. A few of them have left, but for the most part, most of them have pretty much been in here since day one. So they just kind of keep adding to it. So good deal there. And finally, Stay has been announced for Xbox One. It'll be coming in the near future here. This is a very interesting adventure game that deals with abduction, loneliness, friendship. It's about this guy who gets abducted and trapped in this room, and all he has is this internet chat board, and this person named Quinn on the other side of the line, and you've got to kind of figure out where things go and how things play out from there. The game is kind of based around a choose your own adventure kind of style of narrative. The developers talk about they really like those books when those things are popular, so they kind of want to bring that feeling to this game. So really interesting looking title. We'll keep our eyes on Stay, but this one has piqued my interest definitely.
Indeed.
Yeah. So that's gonna do it for Xbox. Let's move on to Bender's Boys in Nintendo. So Nintendo caused a stir this week as they're prone to do. So last week there was the big hoopla about whether or not there would be a Nintendo Direct. So on Thursday, Nintendo just dropped a mini Direct really quick on us, 15 minutes, chock full of some good stuff. So they satiated the fans there, and then rumors started at the beginning of this week that something else was going on Thursday this week, and it ranged from everything from a trailer to another Nintendo Direct. So nobody knew what was going to happen on Thursday. But on Thursday, Nintendo dropped a new trailer for this thing called Labo. We're not sure how to pronounce this. It was a debate Bender and I were having prior to the show on how exactly you pronounce this. I've heard it multiple different ways, but we'll go with Labo because it seems like this is a lab type of a thing. But Nintendo Labo is a new line of build-it-yourself experiences that will be compatible with Nintendo Switch and will launch on April 20th in North America. Starting with cardboard kits, players will be able to build creations that can then be connected to the Switch and interact with specific software. According to Nintendo, Labo kits will include modular cardboard sheets, specially designed to interact with the Nintendo Switch, that can be crafted into creations Nintendo is calling the grown-worthy Toy-Con. For example, you can make a functioning 13-key piano, which we saw in the trailer, that brings your musical arrangements to life once the Nintendo Switch console and right Joy-Con controller are inserted. As you play, the IR motion camera in the right Joy-Con detects which keys are pressed and plays each note through the console's built-in speakers. Budding musicians can also experiment with their own musical creations. Or you can take control of your very own motorbike by constructing a functioning set of handlebars with a Joy-Con inserted in each side of the Nintendo Switch console cradled in the middle. Simply hit the ignition button, turn the right handle to engage the accelerator, and watch your adventure unfold on the Nintendo Switch screen. So there will be 2 kits that Nintendo will offer to start. A variety kit, which will be $70, and includes variety kit software as well as materials to build 2 RC cars, a fishing rod, a house, a motorbike, and a piano that can be built out of cardboard and attached to the Switch. There will also be a robot kit available for $80, and this offers the robot kit software as well as materials to build a robot suit. There will also be a customization kit you can purchase for $10 that includes 2 stencil sheets, 2 sticker sheets, and 2 decorative tape rolls. So, then we saw this trailer. It was a 3-minute trailer with all of this stuff going on, and people are making stuff out of cardboard. They're putting switches in pizza boxes. They're playing games and punching things, and there's just crazy, weird Nintendo stuff. It's just Nintendo being the bizarre Nintendo that they are with this thing, and So after all this, Bender, like what were you thinking, man, when Labo came out? What were your thoughts after watching that trailer?
I didn't really know what to think when I saw this trailer. My first thought was this is weird.
Very very weird.
Very strange. I even actually, you sent us the link to the YouTube video. I actually had to double check to make sure this was actually Nintendo's YouTube channel that I was looking at, and not some like joke
Was it
account like Nintendo or something.
Yeah.
I had to double check. I was like, is this a joke? This can't be real. I mean, but I've had, a week or so to stew on it, and or at least a few days, and it's weird, but I mean, it's not marketed towards me. It's obviously marketed towards kids. I think it's something that kids could get really excited about. I will admit that I think the piano looks cool. I think that's as a musician, I think that's a really cool idea that you can make this piano that actually works and plays music. I think that's very impressive. I do think it's, when they talk about the pricing, I feel like it's a little pricey for cardboard. $80 for a thing, and that's I don't know who's going to pay for that. But I'm just Nintendo trying to reach out to the broader audience like they've done for the last several years. I mean, they've already got us hardcore gamers playing our Switches, so I think they're trying to have push that blue ocean strategy that they had in the Wii days, and kind of appeal to people of all ages and stuff like that. So it's strange, but again, like I said, it's not marketed towards me, so I mean, it's fine. I'm sure it'll be a big hit with people with kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think you're right. I mean, clearly it's not now marketed to us on the show here, but it's a little bit, obviously it's a strange concept, and it's a little bit strange for me. My kids obviously would love this. Like, they'd be very excited to get Labo and build stuff and play the games and that kind of stuff. But it's I don't know, man. It's like you said. I can't get excited about spending like extra money on cardboard. It's one thing to like buy some Legos and like put some Legos together and have like a nice like sturdy piece of plastic when all is said and done. But like, my kids would just wreak havoc on those things. Like, how long are those cardboard things gonna last? Are we maybe gonna get a night out of them? And then the next thing I know, I wake up in the morning, they're ripped apart, or somebody stepped on it or something, and you can't use it anymore. So it's the cardboard part is the part that gets me. It's also it's a little strange because up to this point, the Switch, it's been marketed, I think, more at the older Nintendo gamer. There's a lot of nostalgia and people carrying it around with them. It's an expensive device, right? It's a $300 like handheld device that you carry around with you. I'd be very nervous letting my 6-year-old like walk around with my Switch in a cardboard box and fishing and playing the piano and riding motorbikes and all that kind of stuff. It just seems like this thing is a disaster in the making for people with kids. Like, there's going to be broken things. There's going to be cardboard that's ripped apart. So I understand the target audience for it, and like I said, it's going to be cool to sit down and build something like this with your kids, and we would probably have fun doing it. It just seems very gimmicky, and this seems like something that you would build and you'd have fun with it for a night, and then I don't know what's going to happen after that. So, yeah, I'm curious to see if this catches on. Very, very strange concept, and I'm with you, Bender. The cardboard thing is the part that kind of rubs me the wrong way. Frankie, get you in here, man. Your thoughts on what we see from Labo?
Yeah, like Bender said, like this is definitely something not at all marketed toward me. I don't have kids, don't
Yeah.
ever want to have kids, so not something I'm looking at all. The trailer just again, not even remotely interested in this at all.
Yeah. Bender, any thoughts on this? It seems, like I said, kind of gimmicky. Like, they're going back to like the motion control stuff again with the Labo. Like, is this a route they should even be revisiting again? You think, or what do you think about that?
I don't know. That is kind of one of the things that crossed my mind when I was watching that trailer as well. I was like, man, they're still pushing that motion control stuff. Like, I thought we were past this.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as they don't, I don't know, as long as they can do this, but as long as they're also still doing the cool games that we want to play, as long as this doesn't like interfere with other things that they're trying to do. And as long as they're not forcing motion controls on us in the games that we're playing. I mean, I'm fine with it. I think it's just, like I said, their way of kind of reaching out and trying to reach a broader audience again. I think they're trying to kind of expand on their success that they've already received with the Switch, and you know, they've got us. We're playing the Switch already. The hardcore gamers are back in. The lapsed Nintendo fans are back in. I think they're just trying to get back with the casual audience like they had in the Wii days.
So building off that, any fear that maybe Nintendo veers too far into that camp now? Like, do they look at the Switch and be like, man, we're off to a great start. Like, we've put out Mario, we've put out Zelda, like they're really well received. You know, Mario Kart's out there. We're gonna be pushing consoles for a while, just on the backs of those games. Like, do we now switch our focus to try to bring that casual audience in and kind of like you know, we know that they're going for 20 million Switches this year, 30 million, whatever the number is that they're trying to sell. So do you think there's any danger of them veering too far into that casual market with stuff like Labo, and maybe we see some other gimmicky stuff down the line? I don't know.
I hope not. You would think that they would have learned their lesson from the Wii U, because I think the Wii U was kind of trying to capitalize on the success that the Wii had, and it just didn't really work. It's not what people wanted. So I hope they don't try that. I mean, I know they know that gamers, you know, want the games that they want to play. You know, I know that they know that they have to appeal to the hardcore audience as well. So I don't know for sure, but I hope they don't go too far in pushing for the casual market again.
Yeah. What do you think, Franklin? Do you think that that Labo, or we could see more stuff like this, more gimmicky stuff? Do you think Nintendo would make that mistake again and veer too far into the casual market, or you think this is more of like a one-off thing?
I honestly think it's going to kind of depend how it does. If this thing sets the world on fire like Amiibos first did, then yeah, we're going to be in for much more of this stuff until, you know, I think they kind of hit the saturation point like Amiibos have, where they're kind of starting to back off a little bit, it seems. But hopefully we don't get to that point. You know, I don't know.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully, but yeah, I don't know. At the same time, you know, depending on how it works, and you know, maybe there's something cool in there that kids will actually enjoy playing. Who really knows yet? But I don't know. I hope, you know, like you mentioned before, like we don't see them kind of depart from bringing us things like, you know, a new Luigi's Mansion, a new Animal Crossing, you know, stuff like that. Or worse, you know, we see the next Animal Crossing be one of these Labo games. You know, that would be horrible. So look, Animal Crossing seems to be like that franchise they don't mind kicking under the bus for their gimmicky crap.
You shut your mouth, Frankie.
You could build your own KK slider guitar. That'll be the game.
I hope not.
Yeah. So I mean, what can we say? Just Nintendo being Nintendo, right? Nintendo being the kind of weird company that they are, and like I said, I have no doubt kids are gonna be excited about this. Like, if I brought this home, I would have fun with my kids building stuff. Like, we build Legos all the time. Like, we have fun putting stuff together, and I like doing this stuff with them. Man, this thing this stuff's big too. Like, where are you gonna put all this stuff? Like, when you're building all these cardboard, are you just gonna have cardboard boxes all over your house? I mean, what the hell's going on here? So I don't even know where to put that stuff after we build it. So that's a whole nother. It's a whole nother.
Your kid spills juice on it, and he's got like a soggy fishing rod all of a sudden.
Yeah.
You know what the logical thing is that's gonna come out of this?
What?
Paper Mario.
The long-awaited cardboard Mario.
Paper Mario in real life.
Well, we'll see what becomes of this. I'll try and keep my kids away from this, and we'll see if they ask about it. But yeah, right now, not looking to spend $80 on a bunch of cardboard. That's not gonna last. So that's Labo. A couple other Nintendo stories we're going to touch on now. So Night in the Woods, the Nintendo Switch version, has been confirmed. It's going to release on February 1st. So this will be the Weird Autumn edition. So it'll have all the additional content when the game launches on the system on February 1st. Also from Nintendo, they've reaffirmed their lack of interest in VR or 4K support. So some interesting comments in here. So this is in a French interview. with the managing director of Nintendo France, Philippe Lavou. He builds on Nintendo's previous comments, offering further elaboration on Nintendo's hesitance to embrace the new technologies. Lavou expresses his doubts that VR can appeal to the mainstream, commenting that customers would rather have an all-inclusive package than pay to expand their hardware with headsets and other augments. This is a strange comment coming off the back of Labo.
Yeah.
Right? This is kind of exactly what he's talking about. Similarly, he questions how useful investing in 4K technology would be, given it is currently embraced by a relative minority of users. He also questions how much novelty Nintendo could bring to 4K support compared to its competitors. Lavou makes the point that Nintendo is a smaller company than Microsoft or Sony, and they can't directly compete in the same way. In comparison, the Switch offers something to differentiate the Switch from the Xbox One or PlayStation 4 by offering different uses adapted to players' pace of life. So what do you think about those comments, Frankie? Does that make sense to you, or to me it really makes no sense, because Nintendo's all about getting these other gimmicks and other, like, they've done this for a long time, right? Whether it's an Amiibo or a Wii Fit board or any number of Super Scope 6 going all the way back to the Super Nintendo. They've always been about getting these accessories and other things into your gaming experience. So what's Felipe getting at here?
Does he know that the Switch is out? Does he know that they announced Labo? Does he know how to do party chat on the Switch? Like, is this like the Jim Ryan of Nintendo?
I've never even heard of this guy.
Yeah, Felipe and Jim are out there grabbing a coffee as we speak. Trying to think of what other PR disasters they can.
Trying to think of how they can protect the children.
Yeah, it's all about protecting the kids. Yeah, so I don't know, Philippe. I'm not buying what you're selling here. Finally, from the world of Nintendo, Netflix still exploring the opportunity for the Nintendo Switch app. Not sure why this is a big deal or why we can't get Netflix on the Switch, but this news comes by way of Polygon, who was told by a Netflix representative, "We are still exploring the opportunity with Nintendo, but don't have definitive plans to share at this time." So yeah, everything has Netflix. So I don't know why this is like a story. Why they can't just get Netflix.
That tells me that
Switch.
Netflix is like, hey, we want to put our app on your system, and the Nintendo's like, nah, maybe later.
Yeah, I mean, Netflix is even on the 3DS of all things. So
Yeah.
you'd think that they'd be able to get it onto the Switch,
Which is the worst possible place to watch anything on Netflix.
It's true.
Yeah. I've tried to use the Netflix app on the 3DS with my son. It was it's a nightmare.
It does not have a good screen. It is so ugly.
It's a terrible screen. There's audio issues. You can't find anything. It's a disaster. So we immediately went back to the iPad. We're like, all right, we're gonna go back to the iPad and watch stuff on here. But yeah, the Switch would be a really nice screen though for Netflix. So let's make that happen, Nintendo. All right. So with that, we are going to take a break. We've got some music from Ruel Ethan here. So check that out, and we'll be right back. And welcome back. Thank you again to Ruel Ethan. He does the opening music, the closing music. The music just heard there for the intermission. Very talented dude. So make sure you give him a follow at Ruel Ethan on Twitter. Check out his music on iTunes and SoundCloud. All right, fellas, let's get back to the news now. It's more Assassin's Creed. So obviously last week we talked about Assassin's Creed Rogue Remastered being officially confirmed. Now we have a release date for it. So March 20th. This is via the Xbox blog. I assume this is the same day for PlayStation as well that this will release. It will have some enhancements for the Xbox One X. So it'll have some 4K support. I'd imagine there would be Pro Sport in there as well. So Frankie, you weren't on the show last week, but you're a big Assassin's Creed fan. Have you ever played through Rogue?
Have not. This one kind of came out the same year. I think Unity came out on PS4 and Xbox One, so this was like the last gen Assassins that year.
Yeah.
They kind of recycled a lot of assets from Black Flag, it sounded like, but still, like, this game scored a lot better than Unity. And I know the story also intertwines with Unity. I think his name's Shay McCormick.
Yeah.
The protagonist. He actually he's involved in some stuff that happens in Unity. So because of that, and how much I actually like Unity, I really wanted to go back and play Rogue. Just haven't had the time, or up until recently a PS3 to do so. But I'm excited about it. Though. I like, like I said, I didn't really care for what I played of Origins. Rogue, obviously, a much more traditional Assassin's Creed that I really want to play. Like that's the Assassins that I'm in the mood to play right now. So I'm gonna be picking this up. Hopefully, I'll have some time to hop in and play it. I know the platinum's not that demanding, so this is one I'm definitely excited about.
Yeah, Rogue is a well-loved entry in the Assassin's Creed franchise, and I think a lot of people dig it because it takes place from the point of view of the Templars, if I'm not mistaken. So you kind of get to see things from their perspective, which is a unique take on the Assassin's Creed franchise. So yeah, a lot of people excited about this announcement, but we now have a date for it. So March 20th, we will see Assassin's Creed Rogue reappear. In other Assassin's Creed news, we got some more information about the DLC pack. So Frankie talked about this a little bit in the new releases. So the Hidden Ones is coming out this week. We now have some more information on some of the other portions of the season pass. So the new educational and combat free mode, the Discovery Tour, is coming on February 20th as a free update to Origins owners on Uplay and Steam for Windows. It will also be available as a separate purchase, costing $20 for players and educators who prefer not to purchase the full game. Discovery Tour will allow players to explore ancient Egypt and learn about the culture, traditions, and lives of its people in a living museum. Very, very interesting idea there. Curious to see how that all plays out. Also, we have the Curse of the Pharaohs DLC. This will be available for $20 on March 6th and is included in the Season Pass. In it, players will journey to Thebes to investigate an ancient curse that is reanimating the dead. Bayek will have to contend with risen pharaohs, beasts, and more. The expansion increases the level cap to 55 and includes new outfits, gear, weapons, all themed on Egyptian myth. So, nice little piece of the expansion pack there. $20 for that last piece, Frankie. This is probably a pretty sizable expansion, I would assume.
It sounds like it. It sounds like a whole new area in general. Like, I know this new one's adding like a new district, but this sounds like it's adding like a whole new section. So yeah. So a big game just gets bigger with the expansions coming to Assassin's Creed Origins. I know your first impressions weren't positive, Frankie, but a lot of people really liking that game. I'm seeing and hearing good things about it on a regular basis. Yeah, one of these days I'll get back in and give it another shot, but not ready yet.
We also we got some information on the Final Fantasy 15 Royal Edition. So Square Enix has announced the release date for Final Fantasy 15's Windows Edition, as well as confirming the existence of the previously rumored Royal Edition for consoles. Both versions will launch March 6th with a sizable amount of additional content. So, in terms of the Royal Edition, so in addition to the base game and all current Season Pass content, which includes character-specific episodes, Gladiolus, Prompto, and Ignis, as well as the multiplayer Comrades expansion, both editions will feature all updates to the game, such as the recently added ability to switch between playable characters. The game's already sprawling world map receives an upgrade as well, with the addition of 2 all-new areas. The Insomnia City ruins are expanding, with new side quests and enemies. Series stalwarts Cerberus and Omega are already name-dropped, as well as the chance to take on the Rulers of Yore, which seem to imply we'll be taking a deeper dive into the history of the city and the royal family. As well as the expanded city, players will also have access to a fully controllable royal vessel boat, which will allow exploration of the area between Cape Came and Alticia for the first time, rather than just traveling between the two in a cutscene as in the base game. Fishing will be available while on the boat, and there are new fish and dishes to be discovered. Players who are able to track down all of Noctis's royal arms, powerful weapons which beef up Noctis's limit break armiger, will have access to a new accessory, which activated a new ability called Armiger Unleashed. Am I saying that right? Is it Armiger?
I think
Armiger?
it's Armiger.
Armiger? Called
I think so.
Armiger Unleashed. This ability appears to expand the Armiger options, allowing for powerful attacks while the Armiger is summoned. For lore lovers, the new additions include an archive option, which stores the various cosmogony stories that are littered throughout the game, as well as providing additional local myths and legends at various locations, adding an extra layer of world building to the game. There's also a new first-person mode, as well as new trophies and achievements in more than a dozen pieces of DLC, including weapons, car skins, and item sets. So the Windows Edition will retail for $50 in the US with various pre-order incentives. And then the Royal Edition will retail for $50 as well. That'll be coming to Xbox One and PS4. The physical version will feature new box art from the legendary series artist Yoshitaka Amano, which is awesome. For console players who don't want to shell out on a whole new game, the Final Fantasy XV Royal Pack will be available March 6th on the Xbox and PlayStation stores for $20. This downloadable pack will upgrade the base game to match the Royal Edition. This isn't the end of Final Fantasy 15 either. As Square Enix has confirmed, there are at least 3 more downloadable episodes coming this year, one of which will feature antagonist Arden. So,
Wow.
Bender, you hear all that? You platinumed Final Fantasy 15. You did what I couldn't. You played through the game. So when you hear all this stuff, all this exciting stuff and all the new stuff that's being added with the Royal Edition, you itching to jump back into this world and scoop up some of this new content?
Yeah, I think I might want to jump back in. I still haven't finished the DLCs though.
Gotcha.
I've been meaning to do that for a while now. I played like some of episode Gladiolus, which was the first one.
Yeah.
Didn't even finish that. So I
Gotcha.
need to jump back in, and I think I have to re-download the game to be able to play all that stuff again. But I'm glad that they are going to give us the option of just downloading the extra content for those of us who already have the game. That's good, because
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to buy a whole new special edition.
Yeah.
Just like I already paid for the special edition when it came out, so
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad they're finally finishing the game, I guess.
Yeah, this is a lot of stuff here. When you hear about some of this content, like the stuff with the Insomnia City ruins or the boating stuff, is all that stuff that sounds like a good addition to the game? Something you'd be interested in?
Yeah, probably. I mean, new areas to explore are cool.
Yeah.
I'm not too excited about the boating thing. I mean, it just sounds like you just explore around in a boat and go fishing.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, the fishing was fine, but it was probably my favorite part of the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a fun game. I'm definitely intending to go back and play all the extra content before too long. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I will play this game at some point. It's I have to. It's very high on my list in the backlog. I do want to get to Final Fantasy at some point this year. I'm hoping I can make that a reality. We'll see. You stop with your giggles.
It'll be if you finish Infamous Second Son this year, Final Fantasy 15 will be the new running joke. So it's okay.
Oh,
We've
boy.
always got one.
You always got one in your back pocket. Yeah, not
I have a
not too
question.
tough. Yes.
So, if you're me and you bought just the base game, not the expansion, so you're telling me if I buy the Royal Edition upgrade, does that just add the other quests and I would still have to buy the season pass?
Yeah, that's what it sounds
Probably.
like. Yeah,
Which
it
the
sounds
season
like
pass is 30, 40?
yeah. I think it's $30 for the season pass.
So I could shell out $40 at Best Buy for the brand new game, or spend $50 on individual passes.
Yep.
All right, I guess I'll just buy the new version of the game.
That would make the most sense.
That's
Um,
a good point.
yeah, for the Royal Edition, I mean, for $50, that's a great deal. I mean, get the entire Final Fantasy 15 saga up to this point. So yeah, so if you have not started the game like Franklin or myself, or you're looking to get into Final Fantasy 15, the Royal Edition definitely where you want to go with that.
Nice.
Now, Frankie, something that you're going to be interested in, a new Alien game is in development. So Fox Next Games has acquired, which this is the kind of the game development arm of like Fox's movie studios, I guess. So Fox Next Games, I've never heard of these guys, but apparently this is what they do. Has acquired Cold Iron Studios, and the studio is gearing up for development on a new title set in the Alien cinematic universe. According to the announcement, the game will be a shooter for PC and unspecified consoles. Cold Iron Studios is led by CEO Craig Zinkovich, CTO Shannon Posnewski, and creative director Matthew Hyacinth. The development team includes industry veterans who've worked on various high-profile titles, including BioShock Infinite, Metroid Prime 3, Neverwinter, and City of Heroes. We are thrilled about the opportunity to explore an amazing and rich universe, Zinkovich said. Our background in building online worlds and taking established franchises to the next level in interactive entertainment is a precise fit with our product roadmap ahead. We can't wait to share more information soon. So, Frankie, not a lot to go by here on this new Alien game, but what are your thoughts from what we're hearing from Cold Iron Studios here?
Obviously, I'm excited that there's going to be another Alien game. I still haven't finished Isolation like Brent. I'm still my saves. My character's still sitting under a desk somewhere.
Yeah.
But all the Alien games that I played, I've enjoyed. Even Colonial Marines, Aliens vs Predator, the PS3 one. So I'm looking forward to it. I've never heard of these guys either. This Fox entity or Coldwood Studios, but is it Cold Iron or
Cold Iron, yeah.
Cold Iron Studios, yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure what to expect from them, like quality wise, but the fact they're getting a new Aliens game, I'm down.
Yeah, I mean, when you hear they have veterans from like BioShock and Metroid Prime, does that put you at ease a little bit more?
Yeah. They obviously they kind of understand like a good sci-fi setting, so I think we're in good hands.
Are you excited that we're going back to a shooter setting as opposed to like the more horror setting that we got from Isolation?
Kind of, yeah, because obviously, I still haven't finished Isolation. Like I thought for the longest time that was the Alien experience that I would want to have. Kind of, more true to the movies where this thing's like a legitimate threat and you don't have a whole lot that's going to be able to harm it. But it turns out that it's just fun shooting xenomorphs. So I'm fine going back to the whole shooter setting.
Not as fun hiding under desks, being terrified for your life, and just being stressed out the whole time.
Yeah. I mean, who knew, right? But
who knew? Yeah. Yeah, the Alien Isolation's been an interesting game. It's been a divisive title. Some people absolutely swear by it, and some people are like, "Yeah, I'm spending hours just hiding under this desk. I don't want to move." And every time I do move, I just get spotted and destroyed. So, yeah. So, interesting title. I've actually never played Isolation. Would like to do that at some point, though.
Yeah, I'd really like to finish that game someday. So,
yeah. All right, moving on from there. It's on the opposite side of the spectrum. So we've got Alien, which is a very mature, very, very dark franchise. Let's talk about some Legos now. So a couple of games reportedly in development from Traveler's Tales, based on not only the Incredibles, but the villains of the DC universe. So, comicbook.com reports longtime Lego games developer Traveler's Tales, or TT Games for short, is working on both titles, which are potentially arriving sometime this year. The Incredibles game is said to be titled Lego Incredibles 2 and will tie directly into the upcoming film sequel, which I cannot wait for, which opens in theaters on June 15th. Not much else about the potential title is currently known, but it would be the first Lego game property based on a Pixar property. First Lego game based on a Pixar property. Excuse me. Though Eurogamer's follow-up report claims it will make reference to other Pixar films, while physical Lego Incredible sets will reportedly launch around the same time. That'd be interesting if they bring in other Pixar films into that game as well, like a Lego Pixar game. That sounds awesome to me. As for the DC Villains game, the project will focus on DC's Rogues Gallery, with the Joker, Lex Luthor, and Harley Quinn said to be featured. Previous DC Lego games centered around the superheroes, of course, specifically Batman and the Justice League. So we don't have any platforms. We can assume they're the usual suspects: PS4, Xbox One, Switch, all that kind of stuff. Bender, when you hear about these properties, I don't know if you're a fan of the Lego games or not, but any of this do anything for you? Seeing the Incredibles or possibly the DC villains involved?
Yeah, those both sound awesome, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the Lego games, the ones that I've played anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I love The Incredibles. That's my favorite Pixar movie, and I can't wait for the sequel.
Yep.
So yeah, that's sounds like it could be really good, and DC Lego villains could be really good. So I'm sure, if those turned out to be both real, then that sounds like something I want to play.
Yeah. I love the Lego games, just the care they put into these properties. There's so many cool things in there. Like when you play the Marvel games and you see all the obscure characters they're able to find and put in there, and just all the little like tongue-in-cheek things they're able to do with these franchises that they pick up. To see them tackle a couple of properties that I'm really a big fan of is really exciting. My kids love the Lego games. It's easy to sit down and play these games with them, and they get excited about them. And then there's always the little in jokes and stuff in there for the adults who can pick them out. But I don't know. They've been able to strike a really good balance with the Lego games. So Traveler's Tales done an incredible job with these, and I'd be all in on an Incredibles Lego game. That sounds awesome to me. And yeah, would love to see what they do with the DC Rogues Gallery and all the obscure villains they can grab and put into that game. And it'd be kind of cool to be on the other side, maybe fighting like Batman and Superman, as opposed to always battling the villains. What do you think, Frankie? What do you think about a couple of Lego games based on these properties?
I've actually never seen The Incredibles.
Oh no!
What?
Yeah, never seen it. So
Oh, man.
I'm not even sure really what to expect from that. From my understanding, it's like the Fantastic Four, but good movie wise. So
Yes.
Yep.
I would like to see it at some point in time. I don't obviously I think Jen's mentioned it before, so she might have it even. I'm not sure. Anyways, but that's great. I love the Lego game, so anything kind of superhero related, and even if they do like an even broader like Pixar, like a Lego Pixar game, I still think that's great.
Yeah.
Especially if you bring in something like Toy Story or something, or Cars even. But I'd be really excited about a villains game, like you said. I think it'd be really cool to get in there and kind of be playing as the Joker, like fighting Superman and Batman, Green Lantern, all them. So that would actually be really cool. So that's something I hope that one actually is something that pans out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Frankie, you have to watch The Incredibles. That's your homework.
Seriously, man.
homework.
If The Incredibles is in your home, possibly even, it could be sitting like a few feet from you, and you have not seen it. You need to remedy this, man. Yeah,
We'll do that.
Incredibles is an incredible film.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming, waiting for a sequel. Samuel L. Jackson as Frozone, a personal favorite of mine.
Yes.
But yeah, and like you said, dude, it basically is what a good version of the Fantastic Four would look like on film. So I'm a huge fan of the Fantastic Four. It's a great property. So to see what they were able to do with the Incredibles is really cool. But yeah, it's a great film, dude. Please watch it as soon as possible. All right, moving on from there. Another Warner Brothers announcement here. Scribblenauts Showdown. So we saw this show up earlier this week. This is officially announced. It's a new party game. It's coming to Xbox One, PS4, and Switch on March 6th. The game includes a versus mode and classic sandbox mode, in addition to the new showdown mode. Up to 4 players compete and imagine their way to victory, playing one of several types of mini-games in showdown mode, including wordy and speedy type games. Wordy type games require players to compete by pulling words from the in-game dictionary to outsmart an opponent, while speedy type games are a race to see who can complete a given challenge the fastest. Progress is tracked on a board game style map. 2 players can duke it out in the versus mode using more than 25 minigames, and the game's built-in 35,000-word dictionary. Minigames can also be played solo if that's your thing. Sandbox mode returns from previous games with 8 different levels of object summoning and starlight hunting. Scribblenauts Showdown also lets you design your own Scribblenaut to represent you, with customization options opening up through the in-game progress. So Bender, you have some experience with Scribblenauts, right? With the franchise.
Yeah.
A little bit. They've it's been a franchise that's been around for a while. It's never been outside of the Nintendo ecosystem from what we can gather. But this one coming to both PS4 and Xbox One now for the first time. What do you think about all this? To me, this sounds is this basically like Mario Party with Scribblenauts? Is that what we're looking at here?
I guess maybe. It's kind of weird. First of all, I was surprised it was coming to everything because, like you said, it's only been on Nintendo before. Mm-hmm. Like it was on 3DS and Wii U.
Yeah.
But I like the Scribblenauts games. This sounds like a very different type of Scribblenauts game, though. Mm-hmm. It's like a multiplayer, competitive type thing. Yeah. Whereas the original games were like a puzzle games where you're playing by yourself and trying to solve puzzles using different words and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's something I would really get into. I might try it out. But I really like the puzzle solving elements of the original games. So, but this could still be fun. I mean, the cool thing about Scribblenauts is that, you've got this, you can use almost any word you want, just about anything you can think of, and you can just type it up and it'll appear and you can use it to solve a puzzle or complete an objective. So it's cool that way, but we'll have to wait and see what this one turns out to be like.
Yeah. Frank, you got any experience with Scribblenauts?
Yeah, I've messed around with the ones on the 3DS, and I think I had Unmasked on the Wii U, the DC tie-in game, but
yeah,
I'm kind of confused how this is going to work because I think those worked very well because you're playing with a touchscreen. It's easier to type on there. Not sure I'm going to like doing the whole, pulling up the keyboard on the PS4 and Xbox One to type stuff out. Just a quality of life thing with that game, I guess. But I'm not sure about the whole party thing either. Like I like playing Scribblenauts. Like it's a fun puzzle game on its own. Not something I ever looked at and thought, man, this would be really great if I could play against my friends. That whole thing is kind of lost on me with this, but I don't know. It's cool to see a new Scribblenauts game coming out. Just not sure where I'm sitting on it.
Yeah, I don't have any experience with the Scribblenauts franchise. I know my son has Scribblenauts Unmasked on his 3DS. He likes that. That always looks like a really cool game when I see him playing it. Yeah, I don't know how the party game thing's gonna play out with the franchise, but I like word games like Scattergories and Boggle and Scrabble and all those kind of games. So, if they can get that kind of fun like word game type of a feel into the Scribblenauts franchise, and it's fun. I think it has the potential to be a fun game, but we'll see. So that's March 6th once again on that. Another interesting story here: NBA Jam remake may be in the works. So this news comes courtesy of ESPN. Where Kitzrow, this is Tim Kitzrow, the voice behind the series of NBA Jam, he mentions as part of a wider conversation about the game that there is movement in the works to get a revival done, confirming he is working with Microsoft to possibly produce a new game. It wouldn't be the first time the series has been resurrected. After the original run of games ended in 2003, EA acquired the rights to the series and attempted to relaunch the series back in 2010, if you remember that. Despite the involvement of the original lead designer and programmer Mark Turnell and generally positive reviews, a follow-up never materialized. Turnell actually left EA in 2011 for Zynga, and he is not involved in the latest attempt at a revival, although according to ESPN, he is optimistic. He is quoted as saying there's so much more to be done, calling the over-the-top NBA action with an official license an untapped category. Frankie, we saw NBA Playgrounds recently, which was kind of like trying to tap into this. And it doesn't seem like that's caught on as much as like NBA Street or NBA Jam did in the past. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on the return of NBA Jam? Were you a big fan of NBA Jam back in the day?
Actually, yeah. I had that game on the Genesis, and I loved it. I was a big Bulls fan back in the day, so that had, I think Jordan and Pippen in it, so I used to play as them all the time. And I loved it. So I didn't get into the remake that came out on PS3 and 360, or the other one, the On Fire edition or whatever. But yeah. I'll play another NBA Jam though. Like I if I'm to play like a basketball game, like that's the one I'm probably gonna play. Like, I've watched Playgrounds. I know Brent streamed it a couple times on the Switch, and I mean it looks cool, but it just looks like something like like I don't know. I just there's something about like just the goofiness of NBA Jam. The whole being on fire and flying across the court and slam dunking and the boom shakalaka and all that. So it's hard to duplicate that.
He's on fire. Yeah. Yeah, NBA Jam, a phenomenal game. NBA Jam Tournament Edition on Super Nintendo. Lost many, many nights to that game. What do you think about this this talk of them talking to Microsoft? Bender, any chance that this could come back as an Xbox only franchise?
I guess that's possible. I mean, if they're talking to Microsoft specifically, that's something that could be happening. But I too would be down for an NBA Jam revival. It's one of the few sports games that I've ever played that I really enjoyed. I probably quote that game still to this day on like a weekly basis. Anytime I'm playing a game and anyone is literally on fire, I'm like, he's on fire. So yeah, I love those games. Those games are a lot of fun. So yeah, if they do it, I mean, whether it's an Xbox exclusive or not, I would be down for it.
Yeah, definitely. I love NBA Jam like you guys, so would be very interested to see where they could take the franchise from here. So that's all we got on that. Nothing substantiated yet, but we'll keep our eye on the situation. How about this one? Red Faction Guerrilla, possibly coming to PS4 and Xbox One. So this was a very well liked entry in the Red Faction series. Was the first one to hit PS3 and 360. So if a series of European store listings are to be believed, it would seem another last gen game is heading for an updated version, with THQ Nordic's 2009 third-person shooter Red Faction Guerrilla reportedly gearing up for a re-release on PS4 and Xbox One. So as reported by Gematsu, various GameStop stores in Sweden, Finland, Norway, and Denmark are listing the game as an upcoming release, although no specific date is listed. The news wouldn't come as too much of a stretch. Both the original Red Faction and its sequel have both been ported to the PS4 previously. Frankie, would you be down for a Red Faction Guerrilla return to me?
Yep. It's another one that I always put off playing it because the multiplayer trophies they seemed like a real grind. Seemed almost impossible at the time that I finally got the game. So didn't play it because I didn't want it on my trophy list and, kind of being really incomplete. So bringing it back now and either omitting those trophies or, at least presenting the opportunity to be able to get them actually. So that would be nice. But that's the Red Faction game that I have. That's the only one I've actually like watched one of my friends play, and I was like, this looks pretty cool. Like, it kind of like introduced me to that series. So like, I know I have I think it was the first one because it was part of the one of the THQ Humble bundles. So I know I picked it up that way. But yeah, it'd be cool to see Guerrilla come back. I mean, they can keep Armageddon, but Guerrilla sounds like the Red Faction game that you'd want to bring back.
Yeah, sounds like I've never actually played Guerrilla, but I know a ton of people love Guerrilla. So I'd definitely be interested to see that one come back. How about you, Bender? Any experience with Red Faction?
I don't believe so. I don't think I've ever played any of them.
Yeah, I played the ones on PS2, and they were revolutionary in their day for like that geomod technology, where you could blow holes through the wall and create different paths through the level. So that was really cool back in that time. But I haven't played any of the newer versions though. So definitely be cool to check that one out again though. Then a quick note here on one of my favorite developers, Housemarque. So apparently they are working on an unannounced PC project. The team is currently in need of game testers for an upcoming title, and the game is confirmed to be in early development according to a news update on the Next Machina page on Steam. The post also includes an application form for potential game testers. If accepted, testers will need to sign a non-disclosure agreement, after which point they will receive more information about the game, their role in any upcoming tests, Housemarque cautions applicants to expect something other than an arcade game. So, obviously, we heard about this recently. We heard about them trying to move away from the arcade genre that they've been able to do so well over the years. Kind of concerned that they're only talking about PC right now. I hope whatever they're working on makes its way over to consoles as well. I'd hate to see Housemarque not only stop making arcade games, but not make console games as well. That would just be like the double whammy. So, Housemarque, hopefully you're whatever you're working on is coming our way as well, and I will certainly be there wherever you guys are at. So moving on from there, let's talk some NPD, fellas. So the NPD came out for December 2017, and video games had a huge month in this past December, $3.29 billion. The video game industry in December was up 10% year over year, generating $3.29 billion, thanks mainly due to hardware sales, according to the NPD group. The Switch was the best seller last month, but since it came out in March, it couldn't beat out Sony's PlayStation 4 as the best-selling console of 2017. But it has broken some records in terms of sales in its first 10 months. So on a time-aligned basis through the first 10 months on the market, Nintendo Switch has sold more consoles than any other platform in history. And more good news for Nintendo as well. Monthly sales of the 3DS and 2DS were the highest they've been since December 2014. How about that, Bender? Would you have thought that this past Christmas, sales of the 3DS would have been the highest they've been in the last 3 years?
No, I wouldn't have guessed that.
It's pretty wild. So let's go over the top 10 games for the month of December, or the top 20, excuse me. So overall, number 1, of course, Call of Duty World War II. No surprise there. The Call of Duty's been on top for said something here. The last 8 consecutive Decembers, Call of Duty has topped the NPD chart. So World War II being there, not a surprise. Star Wars Battlefront 2 holding strong at number 2 there. So we saw it number 2 last month in November, number 2 this month as well. So people are still purchasing this game, despite its rocky start. Super Mario Odyssey is at number 3. NBA 2K14 is at 4, followed by Mario Kart 8, Madden NFL 18. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds chiming in at number 7. This is just for the Xbox version. PC sales are not included in this. Assassin's Creed Origins at 8. Breath of the Wild's at 9, still holding strong there. And Grand Theft Auto 5 rounds out the top 10. At number 11, FIFA 18, followed by Destiny 2 at 12. Lego Marvel Superheroes 2 at 13. Splatoon 2 at 14. Need for Speed Payback at 15. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 at 16, making its debut on the charts here. Just Dance 2018 is at 17, followed by The Sims 4, and then Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon round out the top 20. So, from that list, Frankie, anything stick out to you?
The fact that Grand Theft Auto charted over the new Pokemon games, pretty crazy to me.
Yeah.
Really happy that Battlefront 2 is hanging up in there. I know a lot of people, like hating on that game, but look, the game's fun, okay? So, it's cool to see it on there. Sad to see that Shadow of Wars dropped off the list. And also kind of sad to see Xenoblade so far down. I mean, it's cool that it beat out Just Dance and The Sims 4, I guess, but 16 is pretty low on the list for that game, in my opinion.
Yeah. What do you think about PUBG sliding there at number 7?
It's not really that surprising. I figured that game was probably going to do pretty well when it came out on Xbox. Obviously, it helped them, have one of their best months they've had in a long time. So that's, it's cool that it's on there. It's still kind of wild to me that it's a game preview game cracking this list now, but it's the popular game,
I mean, would you have expected it to be a little bit higher than 7? Is that about where you think it should be, or what do you think?
That's honestly where I personally would have wanted it to fall. I could see people expecting it to have probably done better than, say Star Wars Battlefront, especially, with the amount of people, complaining about that game. Forget what else is on there. What else is ahead of it?
Madden is at 6. Mario Kart is above that. NBA 2K18, and then Odyssey, Battlefront, and World War II. Those are all the games above it.
Yeah. I mean, Switch obviously sold very well, so, of course, Mario Kart and Mario Odyssey are probably going to be the 2 games people are going out to run out and pick up. And, obviously, again, sports games, probably a really good holiday gift, so, I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess it makes sense for coming out in December. Yeah, I mean, that's probably where it would fall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. On that note, software spending up 1% from December 2016. So $1.3 billion in software this past December. Activision's after Activision's Call of Duty World War II's immense month in November, it's unsurprisingly still at the number one spot on the charts. Obviously, December is the 8th consecutive December that a Call of Duty franchise release has topped the sales charts, as we mentioned. Activision Blizzard was the highest earning publisher in 2017, though more folks spent their dollars on Nintendo games in December. This is probably thanks to an influx of new Switch owners looking to build out their library of games for that platform. So, Bender, on this top 20 list here, anything stick out to you?
Like Frankie said, I would have liked to have seen Xenoblade chart higher, but then again, I mean, it's still kind of a niche title. I mean, so I'm glad it made it in the top 20 at all. And yeah, I probably would have expected PUBG to be a little bit higher than 7, but you know that it is what it is. Other than that, no, it seems pretty standard. And I guess Star Wars at number 2 is a little bit surprising, but it's good. I'm glad it's doing so well because, like Frankie said, that game is fun. So people need to just shut up and play it.
Yeah,
and apparently they are. Even I bet some of the people who are complaining about it are probably playing it anyway.
Yeah, you know they are.
Yeah.
On that note, we actually have the best-selling games of 2017 on this list as well. So this is pretty much final as we've gotten through December. So number 1, Call of Duty World War II. And number 2, NBA 2K18 actually overtaking Destiny 2. So that game just continues to sell like gangbusters. Destiny 2 comes in at number 3. Madden is at 4. Breath of the Wild's at 5. Grand Theft Auto 5 is at 6. Ghost Recon Wildlands finishes at 7. And Battlefront 2 actually cracks the top 10 best-selling games of 2017. Comes in at number 8. Super Mario Odyssey is at 9, so Battlefront sold more than Odyssey and Mario Kart 8. You see that, Frankie? Not only has it sold well the last 2 months, better than maybe we anticipated, but it's now in the top 10 best-selling games of 2017 after 2 tumultuous months on the market. What do you think about that?
Obviously it sold more than the 89,000 copies that whoever claimed that sold that first month. So
yeah, obviously.
But that's awesome. I honestly didn't know it was doing that well. I mean, we just see a list. We don't actually have numbers to go with this. So, Call of Duty could be selling 5 million, and for all we know, Star Wars Battlefront is selling 89,000, and everything behind that's worse. So, but no, that's awesome. Obviously, that we know that games like Horizon Zero Dawn that were on that list, we're probably in the 3-4 million range. So, obviously, we're well past that point with Battlefront 2, and that's good, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I mean, Horizon's got to be way past 3 million at this point. It was at 3.5 million in June. So after the last 6-7 months, that's got to be at 4 or 5 million copies. We know Odyssey sold 1 million copies the first day. So Battlefront 2, has must have put out a decent little haul there in the first couple months it's been on the market. I think the predictions for the game have been downgraded a little bit. It was originally projected at 13 million copies by the end of the fiscal year, I think. I think they've revised that to 10, but still 10 million copies of a game is quite a bit. Mm-hmm. So, we'll keep watching Battlefront 2 climb the charts. But, the NPD, interesting as always. On that note as well, 1.5 million Switch units reportedly sold in December. So, it's a whole lot of Switches getting into households.
Did Activision put out anything this year besides Destiny and Call of Duty?
Yes, they put out Crash Bandicoot.
That's right.
Which was another really big title for them. So they, I don't know what else they put out outside of those 3 games, but yeah, just those 3 themselves was sold pretty damn well.
Did you see? I think it's in the UK, but Crash Bandicoot actually outsold Destiny 2 at retail. I think for the year.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
pretty wild. So Activision basically just competing with itself over there.
Who'd have thought?
Yeah. All right, so moving on from the NPD, We Happy Few has been delayed to summer 2018. So the title, which was previously slated to launch on April 13th, will now be released for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC sometime this summer. Compulsion Games also released a new developer video that offers a peek at the game's second playable character, Sally, and outlines what else is ahead for We Happy Few. So you can watch that video if you're so inclined. The eerie survival adventure is set in a drug-addled dystopian 1960s England, and it needs some additional time for polish after Compulsion made substantial changes to improve the first 2 hours of Arthur's story. So we went back to the drawing board and made a couple of big decisions. We brought forward a number of story moments to get into the action faster and also rebuilt the whole first island for Arthur, producer Sam Abbott explained. Thanks to the studio's partnership with Gearbox, the scope of the crowd-funded roguelike expanded to feature a full story-driven campaign with over 250 different encounters and 3 playable characters, each with their own backstory. So, Frankie, when you hear that, when you hear they went back to the drawing board with Arthur, how much of the game preview We Happy Few did you play? Is this a welcome change, like hearing that they went back to the drawing board in the beginning of the game here?
I didn't play a whole lot of it just because there's just so many systems in play in that game. It turned me off completely to it.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what exactly that means because I didn't, the point I had played of the game preview build, like there was really no story in there. There was that scene we saw at E3 and it's just kind of picked up from there, but there was no other story stuff past that. So not totally sure what exactly they could have changed from that. That's kind of concerning because that was like the cool thing about the game that drew me into it. So
yeah,
hopefully they didn't kind of, I'm hoping it's didn't get like focus tested in the ground and now they've changed it and it's kind of more tame, I guess.
Yeah,
that would suck. But I think it's ridiculous that they delayed this thing again because like they set this April date, like 8 months ago?
Yeah, something like that.
It's like you'd be pretty confident you're going to hit that date, right? I mean, I don't know.
You would think.
Just like again, like come on, guys.
Yeah. So, obviously when We Happy Few first hit game preview, it was it was not pretty. It was not a pretty sight. There was a lot of people that were disappointed in it. It was not the experience that many of us were kind of dreaming up in our heads, by all accounts, from what I've heard and from what I've read about it. So, I think it's a good thing that they've gone back to the drawing board, and if they can kind of get this anywhere near what the vision of the game we originally thought that it might be, then I think that's a good thing. We'll have to once again just kind of watch and see the reviews for it, I guess. It was such a disappointing release when it came into game preview that I know it turned many people off. So it's going to be kind of this push and pull to see if Compulsion can kind of get people back on the bandwagon, and hopefully they're able to make a compelling beginning to that game and get people interested once again.
Yeah, it's just like wanting it to deliver on the story front. Like the gameplay is what it is. It's a survival game, but the thing for me is they need to kind of lean a little further away from the simulation part of it, just because it was very, very aggressive before, and I know they've tinkered with it, but like I think they have a cool story to tell. Obviously, they have all these different characters, and I think that just the gameplay needs to be more welcoming and accommodating for people like me who want to be there for the story but don't want to put up with like the demand of having to manage all these different survival systems.
Yeah. And hopefully that's something that they can do by going back to the drawing board, or by getting Gearbox involved, and by putting in this full on like story campaign. Hopefully they're thinking about those kind of things when they're developing this, and they'll kind of pull the reins back a little bit on some of those more nitty gritty survival details. So cool. So moving on from there, former Motorstorm and DriveClub developers have opened Wushu Studios, and they're developing a new sci-fi IP of all things. So, despite having worked on racing games in the past, Wushu Studios is currently developing a brand new IP with a tantalizing and unexpected take on the science fiction genre. The team isn't ready to share details about the project just yet, but confirmed that it's not a racing game and that prototyping began with Unreal Engine 4 this past September. Wushu Studios was founded in August of 2017, a year and a half after Sony closed down DriveClub and Motorstorm developer Evolution Studios, and currently includes a growing team comprised of 11 members. Alan McDermott heads up Wushu Studios as founder, alongside design director Nigel Kershaw and art director Stuart Trevor. So this kind of sprung up. Popular Twitter user Shinobi, a part of the studio as well. He's the PR contact or the community manager, something along those lines. But he works with Wushu Studios as well.
Yeah.
So so it sounds like they got a good group they put together over there. Frankie, you excited to see what former Motorstorm and DriveClub developers can do with a sci-fi IP of all things?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah, so be curious to see what they're working on. What about you, Bender? You itching to see what these race car drivers can do with some science fiction?
Yeah, it's always interesting to see developers, take on a new genre or try something out of their comfort zone. And I like sci-fi, so I'll be interested to see what they come up with. So we'll be looking forward to that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So we wish Wushu all the best with their new endeavor, and we're looking forward to what you guys eventually come out with. All right, guys, let's get into some PlayStation stories now. First story we're going to talk about, very serious story. So we had a story detailing the unhealthy studio culture at Quantic Dream come out of Eurogamer earlier this week. So I'm going to read from the Eurogamer article, talk a little bit about what's in here. But according to Eurogamer, 3 separate French reports published this afternoon, this was on January 14th when the story was released, level serious allegations of unhealthy studio culture at Quantic Dream. They're, of course, the developer of Heavy Rain, Beyond Two Souls, and the upcoming Detroit Become Human. So Quantic Dream leaders David Cage and Guillaume de Fondemer are accused of inappropriate behavior, overworking staff, and colluding in, or at least turning a blind eye, to a schoolboy culture involving sexist and racist jokes. For their part, Cage and de Fondemer fiercely deny all allegations, saying they are very surprised and shocked by the rantings of former employees, according to Le Monde report, which is a popular publication in France. One particular area of contention is a cache of some 600 controversial photoshopped images dating back to 2013. Canard PC's report, which is one of the other reports that's involved, has a header image with some of the Photoshop pictures in it. Mediapart is the third report. The most shocking images present Quantic Dream's collaborators in sexual positions adorned with homophobic or sexist slurs, and even made up to look like Nazis, said Le Monde's report, translated by Eurogamer. The photoshopped images were apparently sent in group emails around the company, including to recipients Cage and de Fondemer. I know I'm butchering his name, and I apologize. But it was only in early 2017, when the company's IT manager was the subject of a photoshopped image, the full cache was found and complaints made. Cage and de Fondemer claimed not to have seen the worst images before then, only ones which were funny or more or less amusing. But this cache of controversial images became the jumping-off point for a deeper look at life at Quantic Dream, a studio of 180 people, 83% of which are apparently male, and where there is reportedly a picture of a penis with farting testes on the wall. So, probably not the best thing to have in your studio. Cage, particularly, is painted as a figure hard to work with. He's apparently ironically nicknamed Papa, God, and Sun King for his autocratic approach to working, for demanding long hours, and for not listening to others. Cage is also accused of a lack of consideration for female colleagues and of making insistent dirty jokes, smutty remarks in the presence of his wife, and inappropriate remarks about actresses in his games. David Cage has a very particular viewpoint on how he runs his studio, which in his own words, he sees as a private or semi-private space, said one former employee. He feels he has the right to say whatever he wants, it's his place. Others have apparently witnessed homophobic or racist jokes. One incident involved a burglary caught on CCTV after watching Cage allegedly ask an employee of Tunisian origin, "Is that a cousin of yours?" Cage said the allegations were ridiculous and absurd and grotesque. "You want to talk homophobia," he said. "I work with Ellen Page, who fights for LGBT rights. You want to talk about racism? I work with Jesse Williams, who fights for civil rights in the USA. Judge me by my work." End quote. Quantic co-founder Guillaume de Fondemer is also targeted by former employees for sleazy behavior, such as allegedly hitting on staff at parties, I will be extremely clear. It's absolutely false, responded Defondomier. None of this happened at any evening event. So we have an update on this story as well. So the article, when it was originally published, previously translated. So this was all translated from French publications. So the article previously translated a passage of a French report to say Guillaume de Fondomier was accused of pushing kisses on staff at parties, but the translation is incorrect, as de Fondomier himself later pointed out to me. After further consultation, we have a more accurate translation. The accusation revolves around the common French greeting of air kissing when two people meet. Guillaume de Fondomier is accused of making more contact with his kisses than is considered appropriate. De Fondomier went on to tell me, please note, I categorically refute all allegations, in particular, hitting on staff. So Quantic themselves also issued a statement in response to these reports. So, quote, articles published today level various allegations against Quantic Dream, its management, and employees. We categorically deny all of these allegations. Quantic Dream filed a complaint several months ago, and further complaints will follow. We invite interested parties to read the responses of our employee representatives and Health and Security Committee to questions submitted by the journalists prior to publication. Inappropriate conduct or practices have no place at Quantic Dream. We have taken and always will take such grievances very seriously. We value every single person who works at Quantic Dream. It is of utmost importance to us that we maintain a safe environment that allows us all to channel our shared passion for making video games. End quote. So, we don't have any proven allegations or anything like that at this point. We just have allegations and we have a response. So, Bender, after taking all that in, what's your kind of take on this, man?
It's kind of a tricky situation.
Yeah.
I think in their statement where they said we categorically deny all allegations, I mean, I think it would have been better for them to say something like, we're investigating or we're looking into this. I mean, because they can't say with 100% certainty that there's nothing inappropriate going on in their company. I mean, if people are passing emails around, they don't know. They don't necessarily know.
Yeah.
I know people are, innocent until proven guilty. We don't know what the real situation is. I really don't like the way David Cage defended himself, though.
Yeah.
Saying, oh, well, I can't be homophobic because I work with Ellen Page. I can't be racist because I work with this person or that person.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not a good excuse. That's like when somebody says, well, I'm not racist because I have a black friend.
Yeah.
It's like, that doesn't mean anything. It's not who you associate with. It's your actions that show, your true character. So that didn't really sit right with me, the way he defended himself or tried to. But I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean he's guilty. And I don't know the situation, but it's, if it is stuff going on, I mean, that's definitely something that they're going to have to fix and improve on. And I hopefully the employees who were affected can step forward and, tell their side of the story and, get everything worked out. It's a shame when stuff like this happens, though.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, if any of this stuff is true, this has no place in the work environment for sure. Franklin, you have any thoughts on this?
Just kind of like Bender, like it's shocking to hear stuff like this, you don't really like get like a good idea of how these people are like in an office setting at all. The only time we ever see David Cage is on a stage, and like you don't get that vibe from him that this is the type of person that he is, especially based on his work. I would never play a David Cage game and assume that that's like this is the type of person that he is, And the other thing too is like there's no names, there's no employees that are kind of coming forward with any of these, like we had with the guy from Naughty Dog. I can't remember his name. I think it was David something.
David Ballard.
Yeah, David Ballard. So there's no one from the company coming forward and throwing him under the bus like that. And you would think that if this were a thing that like when this came out, like somebody would come forward and be like, yeah, this is what working at Quantic Dream is like. But as far as I know, nobody has. So I the part of me that I don't want to believe like that kind of story, especially when there isn't any actual. I don't want to say like any actual proof. Obviously, somebody had something to go on to write these articles, but it's just the lack of kind of anyone coming forward to kind of defend those articles and bring any truth to them is the main reason why I kind of look at this and say, okay, maybe no, but like Bender also mentioned, I think the way that David Cage chose to defend himself was really bad. There's definitely other ways he could have chosen to word how to maybe say that he's not homophobic or racist, but I don't know, this story just kind of it's strange reading the stuff to me even still. So
yeah,
it's hard to say though, because like I said, there's no certainty or any any like actual claims or anyone coming forward and saying anything definitively. So
yeah. No, I hear you guys, and definitely I agree with what you were saying too, Bender. Yeah, like you said, David Cage just had a poor response to this, and he's one of these guys that he's like he's an auteur. He has he has a very specific vision for his games. He has a way he wants to run his studio and all this kind of stuff. So I have no doubt that he runs his studio the way he wants to run it, and it's probably a peculiar way of running things when compared to other studios. So I don't doubt that there's probably some idiosyncrasies in Quantic Dream, but I can't say one way or another. Obviously, I'm not going to cast judgment on anybody that's involved in this story or anything like that. We don't have any concrete details or nothing's been proven in a court of law yet, as opposed to what's going on here. But it sucks when you hear stuff like this, especially for developers that you respect and that you've followed for a while. So hopefully we get all this straightened out. And like Quantic has said, they've filed complaints. They said for the last several months ago, I guess they filed a complaint about this. So hopefully we get some truth about this. But yeah, this kind of stuff, once again, as we talked about previously with the Naughty Dog situation some months back, this kind of stuff has no place in gaming. There's no place anywhere really. So hopefully these stories continue to come out, and if somebody is involved in this at Quantic Dream and they have some more information, hopefully they're able to provide that. We can kind of get to the bottom of this. Like you were talking about, Frankie, we haven't seen anybody really come forward yet. And a lot of these situations, though, it's hard for these people. If they are a victim, if they're involved in this situation, it's hard to come forward and it's and face these kind of allegations and kind of get your story out there. It takes a lot of courage to come out and talk about that. So there could be people that are sitting idly by and kind of waiting for that moment to kind of hit them where they come out and tell their story. We don't know. We'll have to see how this all shakes out. But yeah, so sad story out of Quantic. Hopefully we get some clarity on this in the future, and this stuff's just got to stop. All right, so moving on from there, a couple more things we're going to touch on, and then we'll wrap the show up here. So you can sign up for the new PlayStation 4 system software beta right now. So I believe this will be update 5.5. The beta is scheduled to go live sometime in early February, so in a few weeks here. So if you sign up, you get a free little avatar you can add to your collection as well. If you wanna sign up for the beta. What do you think, though, Bender? What do you want to see in this update? Like, what's the one thing you would love to see them add to the PS4 in the system software 5.5? Anything missing that you're just like, man, I wish that was there?
I don't know. You know what? What I would want them to see is to improve the PSN, in general, the way it runs. Just like sometimes it just you try to start the store or something and it just doesn't load, or you try to load your friends list and it just doesn't load and you have to log out and log back in to get anything to work. So that's just the overall experience and speediness of it, I think, is something that they need to really work on.
Okay, all right. Not sure we'd see that in a firmware update, but it's wishful thinking on your part. Frankie, what's one thing you'd want to see from firmware update 5.5?
Same thing as Bender, honestly, except also with PlayStation Video, because I bought all the Rick and Morty stuff on there, and it's like you start watching it, an episode ends, and then it you get an error like this content can't be played right now, or it just never loads. Like, why the hell doesn't this thing work right? Like, it's really frustrating. So I would like them to at least address and fix that. As far as everything else, though, I can't really think of anything that I have like a big issue with, or anything I really want added. I don't think this is going to be the update that's going to bring the ability to change your ID.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't really think of anything else I'd like to see, Matt.
I got something. How about folders for your library? When you go to your library and you've got all the games that you have, there's some way to organize those so you don't have to scroll through all your games.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be great. Some more organizational stuff, I think, for your trophies as well would be nice. Different ways to organize that. Like right now, you kind of get in there and it's tough to find what game you're looking for. It'd be nice to like search for a game, or organize your trophies into alphabetical something. Like, there's some way to kind of organize your trophy list. I think would be cool. Yeah. Do you guys run into? You said you're talking about your friends list there. Is that like a common issue that you run into? I haven't had. I don't remember the friends list ever not loading. I don't think I've ran into that. Where I do run into problems is on the actual PlayStation Store. So I'm on there and I'm browsing for stuff. A lot of times when I'm going through a list or I'm going down, like, it'll just freeze or it'll restart the list. I'll have to go back up to the top and scroll back down to where I was at. So that kind of stuff's annoying. So I would love to see them do something with that. Yeah, other than that, there's not anything like off the top of my head that's very pressing that I'm like, man, I just wish they would add that to the PS4 experience. So we'll have to see what they come up with.
I would like to be able to also get rid of certain things that have to stay on the dashboard. I threw them all in a folder, a junk folder, just like things I'm never going to use that I can't get rid of the icons for. So I'd like to be able to get rid of those or hide them or something.
What kind of stuff?
I don't remember what I threw in there. I know that I actually have the PlayStation Video app in there, but I don't remember. I gotta go through. But there's a couple things that are like just pre-installed apps that you can't delete.
Capture gallery.
Yeah, that's in there. Just a bunch of other stuff I have never used.
Cool. Yeah. So some useful tweaks there would be nice. Yeah, for the most part, I think the system software itself's in pretty good shape. Just a few things that they could tweak here and there for an even better experience. I'm always happy to see them do more stuff with trophies. So anything they can do with trophies to kind of add in more features and how we can view that kind of stuff, I'm all for. So hopefully there'll be some of that in there.
Should put a showcase.
Showcase would be awesome. Yeah. All right, moving on from there. We got the snazzy God of War Collector's Edition has been revealed. So, it's dubbed the Stone Mason Edition, and it includes a physical copy of the game, a steelbook case, a 9-inch statue of Kratos and his son Atreus. Also includes several small 2-inch carvings and a keychain, as well as a lithograph and cloth map. Digital contents include several in-game shields, an armor set, a dynamic PS4 theme, and a digital comic and art book by Dark Horse Comics. The special edition runs $149.99. I have placed my pre-order for a copy. What about you, Frankie?
Waiting for Best Buy, but I'm in for one of these. I know Jen will be a big fan of that statue. Yeah,
I think this looks great. The statue looks awesome. Looks like a pretty solid package for $150 overall.
Yeah.
The steelbook looks really good. Collector's case is nice, but yeah, that statue's badass though. Definitely want that in the collection for sure. All right, so moving on from there, we have a new update for Final Fantasy XIV. Man, every time I read about these updates, I just want to get back and play this game.
Me too.
It's like the patches. So these are like free patches that come out for this game, and these patches just patch in tons of content. So patch 4.2 is titled Rise of a New Sun, and it'll be launched on January 30th. So it's part of our next release schedule. The patch will allow players to tackle the next arc in the Omega Raid series a new trial featuring the first of the legendary Four Lords and 2 new dungeons. The update will add Omega Sigmascape, which is the next arc in the Omega Raid series, as we mentioned, which will feature familiar faces from Final Fantasy V. In the new high-level trial, players will come face-to-face with Bayako, one of the Four Lords. The encounter will lead to a new series of side quests. The patch will also add new main scenario quests, new Beast Tribe quests, and new customization options for players. The patch also brings a new map and rule set for PvP, a duty recorder to allow players to watch previous battles, housing updates for residential areas, and more. So all this stuff, Bender, in a free update. It's pretty beefy free updates they add to Final Fantasy. Like every time these patches come out, this is like a big deal. There's tons of new content that gets added to this world. And this world is just enormous at this point. So when are we jumping back into Final Fantasy 14, man?
I'm down. I mean, I think at some point early last year, I jumped in for a little while for a few months or at least paid for like a 3-month subscription, played a little bit. So I'd be willing to jump back in sometimes if you guys want to. I mean, Final Fantasy 14 is a really good MMO. It's a lot of fun to play. So yeah, anytime you guys want to jump in, just let me know.
Yeah, it's an excellent game. There's no doubt. Cool. Another Bender join here. Shadow of the Colossus photo mode revealed. How much are you gonna use that, man?
I'm probably gonna use it quite a bit. I like photo modes, especially for like really beautiful games like this.
Yeah.
I mean, I play around with the photo mode a lot in Uncharted 4 and Uncharted Lost Legacy and Horizon Zero Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime it's a really good looking game with like really good scenery and stuff, I could see myself snapping some photos of climbing on a back of a Colossus or something.
Oh yeah,
that'd be really cool.
I mean, just judging by what we've seen from this remaster, it seems like that photo mode is going to get quite the workout. There's going to be some cool vistas to take picture of in this game, no doubt. So that's awesome that they're adding that in there. A lot of people like yourself, Bender, really getting into those photo modes. We're starting to see it in more and more games. Franklin, how about this? Back to the world of fighting games. Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle has a release date, June 5th, here in North America on the PS4 and PC. Where you at in this game, man? What are your thoughts?
The last trailer we saw looked really awesome. I enjoy watching like the Blaze Blue tournaments at Evo. That's still like one of my favorite ones was from a couple years ago. That the comeback at the end was great. But yeah, those are games.
One of the best ever.
It was. But yeah, those games are fun to play too. Like I've messed around with it was Continuum Shift, but yeah, but I can't wait to play that one. The last trailer, like I said, last trailer we saw looked really cool. So looks like it's gonna be another great entry in that series.
Yeah, Tag Battle looks awesome. It's also coming to the Nintendo Switch. 20 characters on the roster and 20 DLC characters as well. So quite a bit that they'll be adding over the months and weeks to come. Frankie, you mentioned the Monster Hunter World PS4 Pro, so that'll be available January 26th. There's also a Glacier White PS4 Pro, so this will be available separately now as its own entity. So you'll be able to pick that up if you're so inclined. The Glacier White will retail for $400, and the Monster Hunter World one is $450. Of course, comes with a copy of the game. And I think you mentioned earlier that one's sold out now, right?
Yep.
So if you missed your shot at that, hopefully they'll find another shipment somewhere. Cool story here. Gravity Rush 2, the online server shutdown, has been extended. So it was originally set to shut down on the 18th a few days ago, but now it's not going to shut down until July 18th. So they got a 6-month extension on it. People were upset that this was shutting down. There was a lot of support behind it, so they went ahead and extended the server shutdown. So that's awesome that the people are going to get another 6 months to get in there and get some of the. I guess this is kind of like it's not a huge part of the game, but it's a small, underrated like online mode that people really dig and get in there and getting some of the extra items that offers. Then how about this? So PlayStation has this Tataku figures that they're gonna unleash on March 23rd. They're shaped kind of like Amiibo. But they don't have any game. They don't tie into games or anything. They're just figures for you to buy. So the initial line will include Kratos, Crash Bandicoot, Sackboy, Hayachi, Parappa the Rapper, Hunter from Bloodborne, and the ship from Wipeout. So each of these figures will be priced at $10. You can get them exclusively at GameStop. And finally, on the topic of gear, they got these PlayStation shoes they put on the blog with Nike. I have to get me a pair of those. Those things look badass. They got the light up PlayStation symbol, and they look comfortable. So yeah, they just look like a nice pair of shoes. See if I can score a pair. I showed them to my wife. Was like, I want to get these. She just looked at me like I was crazy. So, cool. So that is going to do it for the news, fellas. That's going to wrap up the show. So let's put a bow on this thing. Franklin, where can we find you gaming, tweeting, all that fun stuff?
You can find me on Twitter, Xbox Live, PlayStation Network, Nintendo Network, at Viper Strike.
Bender?
I'm on Twitter at Bender_guitar. You can find me on PlayStation Network and Nintendo Network at me_Bender, and on Xbox Live at mebender82.
Excellent. Of course, as always, I'll be not tweeting at Piccolo930. So you can find me on PSN, on Xbox, on Nintendo, behind some unruly friend code at Piccolo930. So look for me there. Make sure you're following us on our YouTube channel. So it's Short Pause Gaming on YouTube. It's where you can find the Indie Spotlight every week. It's where you find all the streams that we do, the VR stream that we're starting this week, co-op streams, everything that we do. It's on our YouTube channel there. So make sure you check that out. Short Pause Gaming on YouTube. Once again, we're going to move the Indie Spotlight up a day this week. So if you're accustomed to seeing it on Tuesday night, it'll be Monday night this week, 10 p.m. Eastern. We'll fire up Iconoclast on there. So make sure you come on over to the website, www.shortpause.com. Got all of the stuff that we do goes up there on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. Bender, your most anticipated games went up there recently. Frankie, your stuff was already on there. So if you haven't checked those out, come on over there and check that. Brent's got a review up for Inner Space now. My review for Little Red Lie will be up as well as you're listening to the show. So you can check all that stuff out there. All of our press releases, streams that we do, we try and get that stuff up on the website. So follow us there. Follow us on Twitter at The Short Pause to follow everything that we do here on the site. You can find the podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, and Google Play. So wherever you need to find us, we're there. Like I said, obviously we have the YouTube channel, so you can find the show as if you're watching it here on YouTube as well. So just come on over to Short Pause Gaming. We stream from a variety of different places. So we're Short Pause Gaming on YouTube, on Twitch, on Mixer, on Facebook. So wherever you like to watch your video game streams, come on over, follow us, check us out. We're always streaming to all these different platforms. So if you like the show, come on over to iTunes, give us a 5-star rating. Helps with the visibility, helps get the show out there to more people. So we'd really appreciate that. If you're not quite ready to give us a 5-star rating, no problem. Come on over to the website. Hop on into the comments section for the podcast posts here. Leave us your feedback, or better yet, send us an email, podcast@shortpause.com. Let us know your questions, comments, concerns. Send us your questions. We'd love to read them, talk about them on the show. Just, we always love hearing from you guys. Make sure you follow Brent as well. He's the Dude 1979 on Twitter, the Dude 79 on PSN, and the Real Dude 79 on Xbox. He's the Dude 79 on the Switch as well. So, for Frankie, for Bender, I'm Ben. Brent will be back next week. Thanks everybody for listening and tuning into the Short Pause Gaming Podcast. We'll see you guys next week. Adios.
Bye-bye.